Hey everybody, welcome. Happy Wednesday to you. I am Chris Gore from Film Thread. I am excited to talk to you today. So much news, so much going on, so much to discuss. I'm going to be joined shortly by my colleague, the editor-in-chief of Film Thread, Alan Ng, who may have had too good of a time last night. He may have had too good of a time last night. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to get over that one, but a lot to discuss. Let's get started. Let's get going. It's time for Hollywood on the Rocks. And Hollywood on the Rocks, as you know, it's our Wednesday live cast. Whenever we talk about movies, take a shot because it's Hollywood on the Rocks. And here he is, the editor-in-chief of Film Thread, Alan Ng. Alan, what are you doing on a Wednesday? What's going on?
I'm just catching up with life.
Are you?
Yeah. I mean, I was supposed to have a Predator review up this afternoon. It'll go.
Don't you mean Prey, right?
Well, I have actually been challenged to review. I mean, I've seen them already, but review the first and second Predator movies prior to seeing Prey.
That would be a good lead up. Before we get started, I want to give you guys a little outline of what we're talking about today because it's a lot. First, we got to talk about that Batgirl news. I think that was unexpected, and we're both going to provide some little commentary and perspective on that, some context to it. Also, the recast to CHALLA thing, I don't think that thing is going away. Also, we are going to do some catch up on some reviews. There's some films that we missed. Prey is out this week on Hulu. Prey is a Predator movie set in the past. Also, some indie films like This Is Gore, Fire of Love. Also, we have the filmmakers behind Boston George. Boston George is a documentary series on Fandor about this guy who the character that Johnny Depp plays in Blow is based on this guy. He blew $100 million, was involved with Pablo Escobar. It's a crazy real story. Johnny Depp played the character in the movie Blow. We're going to have the filmmakers behind Boston George here, and we're going to be doing a giveaway at the end of the show for subscriptions to Fandor. So if you don't have a Fandor subscription, you can win one today. We're giving away 5. We're going to be trying to do more giveaways. We're doing a giveaway on Friday with Voodoo. We have Minions Rise of Gru digital codes to give away. So we'll try to do the giveaways at the end of the show. So everybody's got a chance. All you got to do is use a hashtag and then email us and we'll send you the code. Let's see who's here today. As we get started, I just sent out a tweet that the show has begun. Let's see who's here. Who's in our comments already. Look at this. The comments are coming in hot. Whoa. Look at this. Recast Black Panther and rewrite Namor. Same actor can play classic Namor and it's still entertaining. Just have him watch the 60s cartoon and say, act like him. No beard, no piercings, Atlantean and proud.
Or read the comic book. I mean, really.
Yeah. And Travis 101, what are you guys giving away? Subscriptions to Fandor. If you go to fandor.com, you'll see it's a streaming service that has a lot of great stuff in it. We have 5 subscriptions to give away. We're going to be doing that. And on Friday, we have a Baby Assassins Blu-ray to give away and some digital copies of Minions Rise of Gru. Trav 101 goes on to say, I have to admit, guys, the new Star Wars trailer Andor looks pretty good. I'm in that mind.
I would agree.
What do you think, Alan?
It's a good-looking trailer.
It's a good-looking trailer. Is it going to be a good show? I don't know. One thing I did learn is that for the Andor series, they did not use the volume. They actually used real locations. I think that matters. Real locations, real sets. I think that matters a lot. I think Obi-Wan overused the volume, and I think it showed.
Yeah, and already the dialogue in the trailer, at least, light years better than Kenobi was.
Yeah, it feels like a more serious show. Well, I'm saying I'm going to give it a chance.
Yeah.
Look, I don't care how many times Lucasfilm beats me. I guess I'm just going to go back. We're going to go back. We'll see about that. We'll see.
Plus, we need content for this show. So.
Yeah, exactly. We have a trial coming up. Luke Leitner, I think recasting the character is a much better choice than what the MCU has decided to do. So there you go. And John Manilang says, Hollywood on the Rocks is now my favorite drink. We should actually make a Hollywood on the Rocks
Yeah.
drink. That'll be next time we have like a party. Film Thread has a party. We'll just have a drink called Hollywood on the Rocks. And I can't even say what just popped into my head. I said it would just be like an amber turd shit with two giant ice cubes. CD Stein 69 for 199 says, "What's up, everyone? So how's the DCEU going?" We're gonna get to that. Yeah. Ken Bogus says, "I heart Alan." Do you? Do you heart Alan? Do you heart Alan? See, this is the advantage of coming to the show early. You get to see little things like this. First of all, everyone is in love with shirtless Alan. Everyone is in love with shirtless Alan. I got something new for you. Here we go. Make sure you're watching.
I hope I'm pantsless.
I know what you really want.
Talents.
It happens, Alan. It happens. Yes. Ken Bogus says, "If you don't heart Alan, you're living life wrong."
Absolutely.
I like Alan's enthusiasm. I would like here. We're gonna get. There's something I want to talk about with Alan. I have to bust Alan a little bit. Not the Batman says Alan looks like he wore his party pants last night. Oh, someone's following Alan on there you go. There's Alan last night.
This is probably one of the most fun world premieres I've been to.
Okay,
and admittedly, I've only been to 2. So
okay, so you've been to 2 world premieres. This was the world premiere of Easter Sunday with Joe Coy.
Yes.
Tell us about the premiere, Alan. We'll get to the comments and we'll get to reviews and whatnot. But what was it like to be at the premiere? And are there more photos on your Insta?
Kind of. I mean, there's some in the theater and basically promoting the film. But
all right,
you know, this is the thing. Joe Coy, it's about his Filipino heritage, his being a Filipino American. You know, it's Easter Sunday. They're going to dinner. They're having this family dinner, and it's one of those kind of comedies. And this is it's a cultural experience. And I have Filipino friends. I've worked with with Filipino coworkers, and we've had great conversations about what it's like to, have dinner, break bread, so to speak. And I say that to say that there were a lot of famous Filipino actors and actresses at this screening, and I didn't know a single one of them. Lou Diamond Phillips, that was him, and Tia Carrera. Those are the 2 Filipino actors I knew, aside from Joe Coy. So it was weird because I'm sitting in my seat, and behind me, people are talking to the person behind me saying, "I'm such a big fan. Can I take a picture?" And I don't know who that was. I didn't know who that was.
I also have Filipino friends. My friend, I'll do a shout out to my friend Francisco Pangan. Francisco, how you doing? Cisco to me. And I also just love a Filipino food. If you've ever been to a feast,
oh my God.
Man, wow, amazing. You know what? I will say from everyone I know who's Filipino, you know what they don't like? Being called Philippine X. That is a thing. Yeah, Ben Thatcher. There you go. Perfect timing.
Sorry, I should have said Philippinks.
Philippinks. What is it with these weird white liberals that feel like they want to want to rename everybody some politically correct name?
Where did this come from? I mean, that panel was 2 panels after ours on Thursday, and I don't know. I mean, I doubt you could go to the Philippines and say, "Hey, fellow Philippines."
Hey, it's like, yeah, whenever I see that, I always think of that Steve Buscemi meme where he comes out and says, "Hey, fellow kids," and he's like in high school. He's pretending to be in high school. He's got the hat and skateboard, and he looks like Steve Buscemi. But yeah, the Philippine X thing is just so bizarre. We'll talk about, so I don't know if we're going to get a chance to review Easter Sunday today. It opens Friday. And John Manalang says, don't get me started on Philippine X. It's really stupid. Is there any, and Alan, Oh my God! Thanks, Flaccid Phoenix, for that. Shout out to Flaccid Phoenix.
I know.
Producing.
It would be like the Vietnamese, now it's had to be NGX. And
It's so bizarre, and it's so stupid. I mean, come on, folks. Let's get over it. Get through some comments here. Retro Nerd Girl is here, and she says, "Hey, Chris and Alan, I'm excited for the show, given all of the entertainment bombshells this week, and it's just Wednesday." Hell yeah. Gotham Bat says, "Do people like Predators?" We're going to talk about Prey. Not the Batman. Why no AVP review challenge?
Yeah, it might happen. That one
might happen. Kevin Apple says, F Batgirl was a smart move. Okay, well, we'll discuss that. Getting through these comments here real quick. Solomon Thorne, I also felt like that Danny Day Kim or Henry Golding should play Namor. I agree. I always saw Namor, just looking how Namor looked in the comics and how Namor, just looked in the cartoon show from the 60s, and every way's been. I always thought he just seemed more Asian to me.
Yeah.
And Daniel Day Kim, that would be great. Henry Golding.
Honestly, I've always felt like if they're going for kind of that Latin feel, hiring a Philippines actor to do it.
Yeah,
because honestly, I think Atlantis is more around the Philippine area than I would say the Northern Asian countries.
Interesting. Spidey Sensei 72 for 5. Chris, did you ever get the video game? I just got it. It's in my. Oh my God. Spidey Sensei, I owe you. You got it. Spidey Sensei, can you email me your address? I'm just going to send you a thank you card. Can I do that, please? Spidey Sensei, go to filmthreat.com. Here, we'll get in some dumb plugs here for a second. But yeah, go to filmthreat.com. And all you do is go to filmthreat.com/contact. Where is it? And then you can send me your physical address. I'd like to mail you a thank you. And if you want some free stuff, you know how to do it. Send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Film Threat 5042 Wilshire Boulevard, PMB 1500, Los Angeles 90036. That's Los Angeles, California. Although I'm increasingly more embarrassed to live in California. If you want our email newsletter to get updates, go to filmthreat.com/newsletter. Subscribe to our newsletter. There's the plugs we're getting in. So thank you for that, Spidey Sensei. That's awesome. I owe you big time. Trav 101 for £2. Glad I discovered your channel, fellow movie nerds. Hey, fellow movie nerds. Thanks, Trav. Appreciate that. Sparta 300. Does the Andor story look good in part because they're not using legacy characters? I think that's part of it, because the only legacy character I confirmed I know is in the show is Mon Mothma. So Mon Mothma is in it, but it's not like Mon Mothma has like a large history in the movies. I'm not sure about the EU. I'm no EU expert. But Mon Mothma is in the show, confirmed because they had the wardrobe at San Diego Comic-Con. Yeah. Colt Seaman, slap that like button for Alan. Hell yeah. Slap it. Slap it. And also, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe.
Oh, wow.
That's how we do it.
So we're not talking about Will Smith either today.
Yeah. Andy, using Chadwick's social media accounts to push that movie is abhorrent. Wait, they're really doing that? Alan, can you look that up?
Yeah, let me check.
Look it up. Okay, I want to confirm that that's true. Thank you, Andy, for the hot tip. Not the Batman. Hollywood on the Rocks equals 1 part whiskey, 1 part vodka, shake with whiskey sour mix, pour over rocks, garnish with cigarette ashes. It does seem like that. The cigarette ashes is kind of, maybe served on a tray with cigarette ashes on the side. So there you go. And Luffy has got Lou Diamond Phillips would have made a great Namor back in the day. Yeah. Love him in La Bamba. That's a classic.
Well, there's a whole thing in the movie about, the roles he's taken, like La Bamba and the Young Guns, and the fact that he never played a Filipino character.
That's so weird in his career. Said no one ever. Danny DeVito would have been the best Namor. I agree. But let's get right to it here. So is this true?
Yeah, it was July 23rd.
Oh my God.
That's the trailer.
Okay. Chadwick Boseman tweeting from the grave.
Okay. So they're saying no. I was gonna say it was the foundation, but no, that's a
no. Go up to the top. So the top one is his 2.1 million followers are getting plugs for the new Black Panther movie coming out from Disney Marvel.
So yeah, profile run by Team CB, whoever that is.
Whoever Team CB is, okay.
And they're promoting his foundation, the Boseman Foundation.
Okay, well that I'm sure that I don't know anything about the foundation. I assume they do good things, but you know, I don't know. Maybe they paid for that. Maybe let's assume the best. Perhaps Disney Marvel paid his foundation some money, and with that, can you promote our movie? It seems a little callous to me. Seems a little callous, but what can you say?
I mean,
this is sorry,
and it's just the trailer at the moment, really, that they're promoting here.
We're gonna get. Wait, we should. Okay, we're gonna get to the T'Challa news. I think more importantly, we got to get to this. It's kind of crazy that we're talking about this, but let's get into it. Okay. Wait, I think we're gonna. What's better? Here we go. Whatever. All right. Batgirl Shelved. What, Alan? First of all, I'm just sitting here. I see Batgirl trending. Shelved. How did this happen? Why did this happen?
Yeah.
And is this a good move? Reportedly, the budget for this film was $70 million. And they're saying what I've heard is that $70 million to make Batgirl, a movie nobody really asked for. It's a movie, technically speaking, from what I'm told from my sources. I know someone who may have been to a test screening of Batgirl. Okay. I may have more info on Friday because I'm going to talk to that person. But this is a movie that, technically speaking, chronologically speaking, is set after the events that occur in Flash, the upcoming Flash movie with Ezra Miller, which brings Michael Keaton into the DC cinematic universe, the DCEU, right? So the fact that they were going to like put this thing out with like, I don't know, like first it was just going to be an HBO Max movie. The budget ballooned 70 million. Most HBO Max movies between 20 and 30. This one is a $70 million. So what they're saying is it's too low budget for a big theatrical release, right? Because after this whole thing is said and done, right, you're going to have to spend more on post, right? It's in post-production, and you're going to have to market it. Marketing a movie theatrically is $100 million right off the top. Okay. So it's too small for an event film to be released theatrically. It's too big to play on HBO Max. And one of the things that I also think may be a culprit, just because I've experienced this before. So the way people are paid in the entertainment industry is it's a freelance business. Everyone who worked creatively, not the executives, creatively on Batgirl, they're all freelance. The directors are freelance. Writers are freelance. All the actors are freelance. And you don't necessarily get paid all at the same time. It's possible by never releasing the movie, they don't have to pay out the contracts of people based on bonuses that would have occurred based on theatrical release and or playing on HBO. Meaning like you're an actor, right? You get paid like you're up front, you get paid during production, then you get paid something at the end. I'm curious how much money they're saving by not releasing the movie, because there is a price tag to releasing the movie. So you're looking at minimally a $200 million plus investment just to release the film. By not releasing it, you're looking at a $70 million or less loss on the film. Alan, I know you've got a lot of speculation about this. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean,
the chat.
The question is why. I mean, clearly there's a problem with the film itself creatively. It's a bad movie. And are we now to believe that Warner Brothers has found the discipline and the restraint to say, I would rather eat $100 million and not release a movie and not destroy a character and a legacy? Or was it someone? I mean, are they that wise? And this is not something we've talked about from a big movie studio. And that's ultimately the question I have. The other observation I have is they didn't blame us. They didn't blame the fans for this, which again speaks volumes to Warner Brothers. And I've always been a Disney fan my entire life, but I've had great appreciation for Warner Brothers 20 years ago, and always saw them as kind of a fan-friendly company. And I'm wondering if we're returning to that now with Warner Brothers and the new regime over there. But they didn't blame us, and then also they're showing restraint here, which I greatly appreciate.
Well, we'll see. I mean, this will be one of those, like, I was on the Nerdrotic Nooner talking to Gary Beekler earlier today and mentioned I wrote a book years ago called The 50 Greatest Movies Never Made. And in that, I mean, I talk about different films like the unmade Silver Surfer movie, which was developed in the 80s. True story. In the 1980s, they developed the Silver Surfer. They did production paintings, all this. So that's in the book. I talked about unmade Alfred Hitchcock movies, talked about an unmade Napoleon movie that was supposed to star Jack Nicholson as Napoleon, directed by Stanley Kubrick. And a lot of these films, they were in the development stage or the stages of script, and they got canceled. Or in terms of a tragic death, there are some films like Marilyn Monroe's last movie was shelved because she never, you can see footage of it in documentaries about her, but the movie was never released, obviously, because she died, and that's happened. But I will say that, like, I've never heard, it's rare, very rare in entertainment, because a lot of movies go through development, don't get made. That happens every day, every week in Hollywood. It's very, I mean, look, they're not making the Wonder Twins movie. Remember they announced a Wonder Twins movie, and then they're not really, they're like, no, we're not doing that. That was canceled almost immediately after it was announced. They announced the cast of the Wonder Twins, didn't happen. So, but it's extremely rare when you have a movie that is finished and they say, no, we're not going to release it. One of the biggest cases of that is, I wonder if I have the DVD here. Do I have the DVD? I don't think I do.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The Fantastic Four, the 1994 Fantastic Four movie that was Roger Corman. There's a documentary about it called Doomed. There is a way to get the movie, the Fantastic Four from 1994. You can get it. There is a Blu-ray. Is it here? Do I have it here? What is here? Oh, here it is. Look for that. Can you see it? There's a commentary on it by the director, Oli Sasson. It's been released by the director of the documentary Doomed. Maybe it's my light is too bright here. I don't know. So
sorry, wrong comment.
Anyway, that's all right. So that movie was not quite finished. There were special effects to be done. They finished it anyways. You could get it in the 90s at San Diego Comic-Con. You could get it like as a bootleg, like VHS tape, but it's since been released as a Blu-ray. So, but it's incredibly rare. This much money in this day and age, studios don't move forward on stuff like this. So my feeling is, here's my theory. One, it's a terrible movie. The things that have leaked, and no confirmation on this, by the way, but I feel like we're going to get confirmation, and I feel like somehow this movie is going to get leaked. This movie is going to get leaked online. There's just a gut feeling. There was a case years ago where Deadpool was in development at Fox. They did this sort of like test scene, which is that, that opening scene in the movie where Deadpool kind of drops into a car and gets into a fight with a bunch of thugs. Okay.
That's the opening of the movie, basically.
That's the opening of the movie. So they shot kind of pieces of that, and it was a test. And they made that. They spent the money, they made it. It was for internal use only. They do a lot of tests. They do screen tests. We don't get to see a lot of this stuff. Sometimes it makes it on the DVD behind the scenes, but for the most part, we don't get to see a lot of that stuff. So that Deadpool car scene, like, it leaked, and he hasn't 100% confirmed it, but it was basically leaked by Ryan Reynolds. Mm-hmm. Ryan Reynolds leaked that scene, which then put pressure on the studio. People are responding well to this. We should make this movie. And then Deadpool got made. Now,
there's a big difference between Deadpool and
Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds and Batgirl.
I mean, you made an interesting statement. The opposite of it is there's no way in hell a movie studio is going to shelve a good movie unless something happens to the actors or some political thing. But if you have a good movie on your hands, they want to make money.
Well, I think the thing is this. One, I think the movie's terrible. There have been some leaks that have come out. Here are the leaks that I know, non-confirmed, is that that Michael Keaton's only in the movie in 5 scenes. He does not train her. He's sort of an inconsequential part of the film. He's much more integral to the Flash movie. and he's sort of in the world of Batgirl, but he's not a big part of the story. Additionally, I can't confirm this, but someone was talking about that part of how she becomes Batgirl is she's just wearing a Batgirl costume to a Halloween party and then like takes out some thugs. That's kind of her origin.
Yeah, that's Ms. Marvel's origin too.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm wearing the costume as kind of a cosplay. Oops, villains, I'll be a hero. And it just seemed pretty uninspired. So look, my feeling is if they felt that this is going to tarnish the DC brand, they shouldn't do it. Also, it's a little disconcerting only because this happens so often is redheads being replaced by other actors. I mean, we're never going to get to see a screen accurate Carrie Kelly Robin, who was in the Dark Knight Returns comic book by Frank Miller. Also, the animated version of that, which is, it's not great, but I've watched it. Well, it's okay.
Yeah, I should remind you, Yvonne Craig wasn't a redhead either.
Yvonne Craig wasn't a redhead, but to throw people, see, I think this is like brilliant, right? You could throw in she has like the red hair to throw people off.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. It's like part of her costume, right?
And clearly she was the best Batgirl.
Well, they even replaced Jimmy Olsen in the Supergirl series on CBS with a non-redheaded actor.
Yeah, I think he was black, in fact.
You know what, Alan? I wouldn't know. I barely watched that show. If there's anything you would know better than I.
Yeah, I actually saw the first season of Supergirl.
Wouldn't it make more sense to make Jimmy Olsen like Asian? He's like, you know.
No, we're above the photographer stage at this point. But it's sort of racist at that. Yeah.
Exactly. So my feeling is the movie was not very good. It would tarnish the DC brand, and it's interesting to see if they actually care about that. Whereas Marvel, I feel like continues to dilute the Marvel brand, and more is not best, right? And I feel like Marvel is more series, TV shows, movie. This I saw this week. Please don't laugh because I got a screener of it. It's 20 minutes. I saw the entire season of I Am Groot. It's a series of like 5 4-minute shorts. There's only one I thought that was really good where Groot, you can see it in the trailer. There's a trailer, I Am Groot, you can look it up. And it's just baby Groot's adventures, basically. So sort of like, you know, hanging out in the ship, kind of how he gets out of the pot. They kind of show how he gets, you know, at the end of the first Guardians of the Galaxy, he's in the pot, kind of dancing. They show a little adventure of like how he gets out of the pot and sprouts legs. There's one of the episodes, which I thought was the best episode, is where Groot actually discovers some alien civilization of microscopic creatures that worship him like a god. And then he kills them all on accident. It's fun. But it's just too much. It's just, that would have been a really good extra on a Blu-ray of maybe Guardians 2 or something.
I mean, those things, they used to be basically interstitials on the Disney Channel.
Right.
Shows. And they're just kind of recreating that and giving you giving all into you in one lump sum there.
Well, but my feeling is that this movie was not very good. It was going to just like, again, divide the fan base. And, you know, the people I feel sorry for mostly are the creatives involved and the lead actress. I mean, who is she? She just got cast in the role. Yeah. And it's very possible that money that they're owed will not be paid. That is another thing. It's like, because there'll be bumps in a contract based on how performance, they call them performance bumps. So the performance bumps come on certain milestones for a project. So theatrical release, X number of theaters. That's why Scarlett Johansson fought so hard for like, hey, you owe me money. You know, come on. It doesn't matter that the movie kind of tanked. Like if it is released in X number of screens, I get X. She's owed that. So let's go to comments here as we continue to discuss it. But my feeling is the movie was not very good. They looked at what it would cost them to release it. So it's like, it's not that they're going to lose money. It's like, do you want to lose 70 million, be able to write off a bunch of it? Or do you want to lose 300 million? And I think their goal, and if there was no future for this character and this movie didn't connect to anything else in the DCEU, why release it? So I actually think it's I actually have a lot of respect now for Warner Brothers. And the first thing they need to do when DC Fandom in October? Can you look that up, Alan?
Yeah.
When is DC Fandom? It's basically their Hall H, but they just do it on YouTube, and it's like 4 or 5 hours or 6 hours. It was 8 hours one year. But anyways, let's go to the chat here and see what people have to say about this. Did you find the DC Fandom?
I had to put my age in.
What's that? What?
They won't let me go into the site until I put my age in to verify my age.
Oh, there you go. I thought you said my Asian.
That too.
Okay, good. Ferd Turgeson says Keaton would have at least helped Batgirl break even. I think it's possible, but from what I hear, and again, I'll have more news on Friday. A friend of mine has seen The Flash, and he was supposed to go to a test screening, which he thought was Batgirl. I haven't spoken to him. So I think that from what I've heard, his Flash is very good. It's like Back to the Future, 89 Batman, Michael Keaton Batman is in it, and it sounds like it sounds good. He describes some really specific action sequences. Sounds kind of cool. Flash. Andrew Odette says Hollywood is so obsessed with seeing yourself represented on screen, yet they don't care enough about the little boys who lost their hero in Black Panther, won't recast out of respect to the character. Sad. I agree. We're going to talk about that more. And Daniel became a YouTube member. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. John Manilang. So, Alan, you should post more photos for members only from your adventures at let's see, DC Fandom is, well, it was.
Yeah, I cannot find a date. They just gave me the site, and then.
All right, well, there you go. John Maniling says, I was going to go see Batgirl just to see Keaton don the cape again. Again, it doesn't really make sense because Michael Keaton Batman is sort of brought into the DC universe via the Flash movie. Batgirl chronologically takes place after. So when are they going to release the thing? Who knows?
Yeah, the Fandom site is I'll just show you real quick. It's still 2021. Oh, so there's nothing updated.
Nothing there. Okay. Red Terror 1978 says Batgirl Shelved may have saved Az's life. Yeah, Az. Shout out to
one movie away from a stroke, basically.
Yeah, heel versus babyface. Subscribe to his channel. You don't need me to tell you that. He's got a ton more subscribers than mine. Shucksy, it was so bad with test screening audiences, they decided to kill it, even with a $70 million investment. It shows you where Hollywood is now. But I really think it's part of his protecting the brand of DC, right? It's really protecting that brand. Solomon Thornton says, instead of Batgirl, give us Batman Beyond with Michael Keaton and let Tim Burton and Bruce Timm be in charge. That would be great. That would be great. Gotham Bat question: can you still watch Zack Snyder's Justice League, or has that now been ruined? I think you can see it. I personally loved it when it came out. I thought it was great. The Alex Zorba, in order to clean house, you have to clean house. I think so. I think that's also part of it. It sends a message of like, look, stop making this stuff woke for woke's sake, right? It just stop it. It doesn't. I feel like audiences are rejecting it. When you look at the top movie at the box office, what are the top movies for 2022, Alan?
Top Gun Maverick would be the top one.
That's number one at is it 1.3 billion now? I believe it's 1.3. Yeah, it is also still in theaters, which is crazy. Patrick Lemire says not releasing can cause lawsuits, but I doubt they did a ScarJo contract. True. Yeah. Patrick Lemire says, they did the math and it's cheaper to eat 70 million. True. Yeah. Again, lose 70 million or more than that.
Yeah. John, this is the respect I have for the decision. They were able to deduce that this was a bad movie and it was not worth putting out there. And two, again, they did not blame the fans for it. They did not try to come with some PR campaign that shifted blame. And they just admitted it's a bad movie and we're putting it on the shelf.
Yeah. John Manilang, I've become too cynical in the past years to give any big studio credit for doing something right. Well, I hear you. Oh, Super Chat's here. coming in fast. Sean Zamir for $4.99. Batgirl was not going to be good, and I actually respect WB focusing on establishing their universe the right way this time instead of copying Marvel. Agree. CD Stein 69 for $9.99. Shout out to CD Stein 69 for his Nerds, Geeks, and the Kitchen Sink podcast here. I've got my mug sitting on my shelf. Thank you for that. Heard the budget was going to be closer to 90 mil. Also, Keaton hardly in it. Batman doesn't train her. And Frasier, J.K. Simmons, best part of the movie, spin from studio after movie got blasted online. Yeah, true. Thurmanation 2011's for 2. Recast T'Challa as a redheaded white guy. That...
Yeah, that's probably the least controversial statement.
Exactly. More comments here. Shelby AC, an animator friend of mine, told me apparently Batgirl was already done anyway. Then COVID protocols ballooned the budget from 70 million to 90. They gave up on it. Not sure what's up. I think it's just also these COVID protocols, do they have to do them? Are they getting something in return? Is there a tax break for following the COVID protocols? I don't know, because a lot of people are rejecting them. It was recently announced Fox is no longer requiring people to show vax cards just to go to work. You don't have to show it anymore. And I feel like more and more companies are saying, yeah, we don't need this stuff, this dystopian shit.
Well, guess what I didn't do at the premiere last night?
What?
I didn't show a vax card. I didn't wear it.
There you go. Trav 101 became a YouTube member. Thank you for that. We appreciate that. Retro Nerd Girl, I agree with you, Chris. It was probably just embarrassing for the studio. The costume for Batgirl tells me everything. It does look a little cosplayish, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And also,
was there a sense that it was woke? The story was woke, or are we just kind of feeding the bear?
I'm gonna assume that it's not a level. It's not sort of like it's that's why it's rare when we just say it wasn't woke. Like you and I are both surprised. Like, wow, it wasn't a movie that wasn't woke.
Yeah. I mean, was it a straightforward telling of Batwoman, or was there a woke agenda behind it?
Right. Yeah, it just there you go. Tiberius Gracchus 3, give us what we all want. A Henry Cavill Superman movie with Batman. This is DC's opportunity to one-up Marvel for once. I agree. You could do an event film, a Superman film for the present day that, updates the character, but also has that positivity that has, I hate to say this, traditional American values. He's a big Boy Scout trying to do the right thing, but in the world of today. And,
So you're saying a little truth, justice, and the American way.
Maybe. Yeah, why not? A little bit of that. Yeah, they could. I don't know why they're not announcing it now. Look, if they do this DC fandom, which who knows, I think they're just trying to get their ducks in a row.
Yeah, but, I mean, from the way it sounds like they're cleaning house at Discovery Warner, and I think DC fandom is not on the radar at the moment.
Right. Daniel for 5. Thank you for that. I love that this has been canned. I'm personally offended by all the race swapping, tokenization, and that is exactly what this was. Stop Gingerside. I just think it's so cliche. It's uncreative. It's every character that they want to race swap. It only goes one direction. What's that, Alan?
It against redheads, basically.
Well, not necessarily against redheads, but it only goes one.
Yeah, no one ever reverses it to white. Which, quite frankly, do we need more white people in our movies?
Daniel for 2. I'm taking my mom to see Maverick in 30 minutes. She'll have a great time. Daniel, thank you for the 2. Have a great time with your mom.
I took my daughter to see Maverick.
Oh, what did she think?
She loved it. She absolutely loved it. We did see it in 4DX. So that.
Oh, you saw it? Where was it in 4DX?
It was in at the Irvine Spectrum, down here.
Nice. I gotta go there. Pilgrim Media for 2. Thank you for that. You're coming up on 50,000 subs. Good job. Yeah. 300 watching. Slap that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already subscribed. It's very easy. All you got to do is slap that like button. Oh, wow. Super easy. Just do that. Here we go. More comments here. Bankruptcy is a great cure for wokeness. Here, okay, Kev Burke 1. Thank you for the comment. Here's the question. Can you name, this is for everyone in the chat, can you name a movie that is super woke that was a huge hit? Or can you name a movie or television show that used the strategy of attacking the audience that was also a hit? Well, there you go. I think we have our answer.
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel, said no one ever. Now, Captain Marvel had the advantage of being the
first.
What's that?
The first basically woke movie. I mean, it came in under the wokeness came in under the radar in that movie.
Well, it was, I think Ant-Man and the Wasp and Captain Marvel were kind of sandwiched between Infinity War and Endgame. Am I correct?
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah. So Captain Marvel benefited from that because, of course, that's the post-credit scene after Infinity War is contacting Captain Marvel, which was, so I don't know.
Well, and then also I mean, the messaging, I think that was the first time where the woke messaging kind of came in, and literally I really didn't think about it until weeks later when I thought about it.
Well, let's switch gears here. I think Batgirl Shelved, we're going to learn more in the coming weeks. I promise you things are going to leak. People who saw test screenings of Batgirl, because it was test screened.
Yeah.
It was test screened. So people did see it. Regular people were invited to see it. Stuff's going to leak. Stuff is going to leak. I think the filmmakers haven't even, my understanding is one of the directors was at his wedding when he got the news. Literally at his wedding when he got the news that Batgirl was going to be shelved. So we're going to learn more in the coming weeks, but I think it's a good move. And I think it's basically sends a message to people in Hollywood that, like, look, we got to do stuff that is sort of a lock, a guarantee. And I don't think anybody, I mean, did you think like Top Gun 2, like I like the trailers. I'm like, that's okay. But it wasn't on my radar as like I didn't think it would become one of my favorite movies of, 2022.
Yeah. I mean, I think going in, the feeling was, why are we remaking this? How are they going to ruin our experiences with the first one?
Right.
And then poor Anthony Edwards, who appears all over that movie and didn't see a dime from the sequel.
Right. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see, like, it'll be interesting to see what the repercussions of this are. Like, I think it's too early. I mean, it's not even 24 hours since it happened. It's maybe just 24 hours since Batgirl was shelved. So we'll see. Let's switch gears now. Talk about something I know we want to discuss. We got to talk about, because I don't feel like this conversation was done yet. I think that this is a colossally bad decision. I was watching some videos talking about some of the things you may have noticed in the trailer. And the idea that they're handling the death of Chadwick Boseman this way, I think is a mistake. I think it's a huge mistake. I've seen way too many videos of people talking about this. And I think that when you think of young boys who are fans of Black Panther, to kill the character off, I think is hugely disrespectful. We talked about this last week, but I think it's we got so much traction from that. So many people who just wouldn't stop talking about it that I think that we need to continue this conversation. But last week, you and I completely disagreed. Alan,
and we still do.
Really? Why? Yeah. What's the defense?
Now that I've had time to think about it. Now that I have time. See, okay, so the issue I have with your statement is colossal mistake. And I think I'm under the feeling that this is a lose-lose situation. They could have gone the replacement route. They could have gone the current route, and they were going to lose regardless. Because, I mean, quite frankly, who is going to replace Chadwick Boseman? The constant comparisons. It only worked one time, and that was with War Machine. And to me, the decision was not about killing a character. Yeah, thanks. The decision was not about killing a character, but it was, how do you handle the death of a man like Chadwick Boseman? And the reason why in the comments, they're it's the deification of Chadwick Boseman that I'm doing here. And honestly, I the more I think about him and what he's done, he's a certain kind of actor that, quite frankly, we don't see that often. One who stayed away from being political, overly woke, a guy who just, he held himself with such gravitas and character. And this is, you don't see this from actors anymore. And I just felt like that he had just made such an iconic impression in that first film that they should have probably just scrapped Black Panther for maybe 10 years and brought him back then, rather than maybe going in a route of having to replace him or tell a story without him. And they decided to tell a story without him. And and okay, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I feel like the Black Panther film should have been a trilogy. Like, we've gotten 4 Thor movies.
Yeah.
I feel like these sort of work in trilogies, right? Like beginning, middle, and an end.
I mean,
a trilogy for a character. I
don't disagree with you, but the guy died. The guy died.
Right.
And it's funny because no one's talking about replacing Ezra Miller. No one's talking about replacing.
What do you mean no one's talking? They're definitely talking about replacing Ezra Miller. If you look, there's a lot of people saying, "Hey, you could replace him, but you can't."
No, but there's no way Warner Brothers is going to spend the money to replace Ezra Miller.
Well, here's the thing: they're not going to replace him in the Flash movie that's already shot. They will more than likely replace the Flash going forward.
Sure.
Meaning any appearances of the Flash in any other movies like Justice League, they're gonna Ezra Miller is done with Warner Brothers. You don't come back from the things he's done. I just don't.
But it's not unprecedented to change the lead actor in a movie after it was shot. There's it's not, there's no precedent. There is a precedent of changing an entire movie, Justice League, reshooting 80% of that movie. So it's not like they couldn't do it. It's just, no one's talking about, replacing Ezra Miller in the current Flash movie. And yet we're talking about it here.
Right. Well, I think what's going to happen is you're going to see months before that movie opens, you're going to see some sort of Ezra Miller checks into rehab. Something is going to happen there. Let's get to comments here about this. And
the chat keeps scrolling up, so I'm trying to. Yeah, I was going to grab.
That's what chat does.
Yeah, I know.
Alan confirmed cash check from Chadwick Boseman Foundation, says Ken.
Because I'm a true recipient of the Chadwick Boseman Foundation.
Yeah. Kevin Rubio for 5. Kevin, always good to have you in the chat. Curious how many recast T'Challa people are really just upset that the female characters are being brought to the forefront for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I'm not. I don't care. The female characters, actually, that was one of the great things about the first Black Panther movie is he was kind of sidelined in that first movie. Mm-hmm. He was kind of the least interesting.
It was the Killmonger movie, basically.
It was the Killmonger movie. It was also Shuri and a lot of the other characters were just really Mbaku interesting. And the thing that really made the first Black Panther movie more than anything, and I don't think it's the best Marvel movie, the world building in that film is great.
Yeah,
I feel like that's what they really did well. I don't think anybody's even mentioned that.
And the happened thing is they want to cancel Letitia Wright for her vax stance. So
right. Well,
we're all in outrage about everything. Yeah,
I respect. She should be able to. It's her body, her choice, right? Isn't that?
Yep.
So there you go. Kevin, thank you for that. Daniel says, trying to make T'Challa some kind of headstone for Chadwick Boseman is idiotic. It's not Boseman's character. It's a Stan Lee and Jack Kirby creation. Well, that's technically true. And Gotham Bat says, I don't think anyone wants Shuri Black Panther. It did happen in the comics. So there you go. Zach's killing off T'Challa was a horrible mistake. They're not taking time away to tell a different story. They killed him. Andrew Odette, if the story was fitting to kill off T'Challa and replace him, I'd be fine with it. Well, I don't know.
I mean, ultimately, that's the judges. I mean, Ryan Coogler, I believe, knew the situation while filming Black Panther. I believe he knew the situation when he handed the the script outlined to Kevin Feige at D23 at the last one.
Right.
And so, you know, this is just as much Ryan Coogler's decision as it is Marvel's. And he has a plan, and we like the first one. We like Ryan Coogler movies. So let's see what he does here.
X Douchey McDouche X. I love the creativity on all the names. Hulk was also recast. I mean, it's true. Like, Hulk was recast. I mean, Hulk has been played by what, 4 different actors?
Yes.
If you include Bill Bixby?
Well, it's 5 then.
No, it's 5. Okay. 5?
Bill Bixby, Lou, Eric Bana, Ed Norton, and Mark Ruffalo. 5.
There you go. Sahil, no actor is bigger than the role. Recast to move on. Agree. Andrew Odette.
So let me ask this question: Should
what?
we recast Cara Dune?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know. I think that, first of all, that's a separate conversation because the way she was fired was over her politics.
Right. Well, Chadwick Boseman died. I mean,
right. Andrew Odette, we respect the actor in quotes, but we're going to use his death as a marketing tactic. I do think it seems a little. I'm a little uncomfortable with this, that they're going to turn part of the movie into this. But it's going to get, watch when the reviews come out. People are going to say, I was in tears. So many tears, blah, blah, blah. They're going to milk it so hard. Let's
say the TikTok army is lined up already.
Tony G says recast Tiberius Gracchus III. The entire Star Wars sequels woke as shit and made bank. Shake my head. Yeah, I mean, first of all, we didn't realize it. First of all, you're right. Definitely had wokeness, but I think it kind of crept in. It wasn't until the second movie. It was like it was there in the first movie, but like it just like you look at it. The sequel, Star Wars sequel, is one of the biggest missed opportunities in cinematic history. A colossal disappointment. Shucksy, people want Gina more than Cara Dune. Yeah, look at the lines. Look at the lines at convention.
But that speaks to the actor, and that's my whole point is Gina Carano, a person of fine character, and I'd say Chadwick is the same way. The decisions, I feel like there's no precedence in this decision. There's no rule as to what you do. Right. So I think we're acting more on emotion than anything. Slaction
Hero just became a YouTube member. Thank you for that, Slaction Hero. Love the name. Pizza is great for $4.99. They recast Joker after Ledger died. They should have done the same with Black Panther by having Wakanda 2 girl power be set during the 5-year blip. Oh, first of all, that would have been interesting if the blip happened. You know, he's gone, right? Yeah. And wait a second. Is it possible that this takes place in the midst of the blip and he comes back? Maybe we don't know everything yet.
Interesting.
Maybe we don't know everything. Pizza is great. I like your. You know what's so funny is you read the fan theories, and usually the fan theories are like better than what it turns out to be. You know,
because fans think about this stuff. Executives don't.
And this is probably my favorite chat comment of the day. Thermination 2011's for 2. Recast T'Challa as a redheaded white guy. That would be great. And Joshua Levesque says, 360 watching and only 167 likes. Please smash the like button if you haven't already. Yes, thank you for that. I'm of the opinion that they should recast. Maybe the conversation we're having right now, Alan, is premature.
Yeah.
Wait,
ultimately, that's what I'm thinking.
Cameron Montillo says no because Shuri is at the funeral. So
clutching those Kamoyo beads.
Yeah, well, you're right.
No, I mean, ultimately, the movie is going to say it all, whether they made the right decision or not.
We'll see. Maybe they have something clever in mind. Who knows? Go Party Time says, bring one of the Black Panthers in from the multiverse. That would be cool. But to wrap up this conversation, because we're going to talk about a couple movies and we have guests coming on and some fun stuff. And we have a contest at the end. Remember, we're giving away 5 Fandor subscriptions at the end of the show. That'll be a lot of fun. And you can be entered to win All you got to do is put hashtag Boston.
Oh no,
George.
not yet. I got to
Not
activate
yet?
that.
Wait,
I have to
yeah.
activate that before you do. You want me to do it now?
Okay, let me know when it's activated. I want as many people as possible. Hey,
okay, it's
Paulie
activated.
is here. Paulie is here.
Hey, Paulie.
There you go. Paulie, I haven't heard from Paulie in a long time. What's happened, Paulie? You used to text me 9 times a day. Now 0 times a day. I feel like we were dating, and you've ghosted me. What's going on, Paulie? Paulie from Latino Slant. Shout out to Paulie. Subscribe to his channel. Okay. I'll be the new Black Panther. We need some good brown on brown crime. There you go.
You just can't be Namor. That's all.
I feel like that's what I mean. I don't know. I saw a video that kind of showed some detail and did like sort of a history of Namor. I'm kind of getting more and more sold on this take. It seems interesting. It's different than Aquaman.
But they were enemies.
I think that's what I like.
They were enemies in the comics, weren't they? The Atlanteans and the Wakandans.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so they're playing that. The giveaway is activated.
The giveaway is activated. So can you do a little like
yeah, I got it.
Thing there. You use the hashtag Boston George. Your account will be entered to win a subscription to Fandor. We have 5 to give away. I will you'll get an email with the free sign up code.
I thought I had it here already.
There you go. Is it you're making one? All right.
I made one and I can't find it.
All right, cool. And then let's see. Thank you for that, Paulie. You got to come, Paulie. Every Thursday, we're at the Yard House at the right next across from the AMC Burbank 16. Why are you not coming to see movies with me? Seeing Bullet Train at 6:10 p.m. The IMAX screening at the AMC Burbank 16. And look, you don't have to twist my arm. Leandro Maderas de Sousa says, show us Alan's titty. There's just too much good Alan in there.
I'm a multi-talented person.
Anyways, Paulie, thanks for dropping in. Haven't heard from you in a while. Always good to hear from you. I'm always, I'm just going to see a lot of movies. You could see them together. We'll hang out. Be a lot of fun. But look, I'm of the opinion that they should recast the character. Having said that, perhaps there is a clever way that Black Panther T'Challa will rise in the form of maybe another actor playing the role. It's possible. And this movie is kind of getting us there, allowing the audience to, in a way, kind of participate in a healing of, we could recast Alan. Recast Alan. But, in some way kind of healing with regard to the real life passing of Chadwick Boseman, and then in a way kind of reintroduce the character. And who knows, it could end up being Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger, right? Like that could work, kind of a redemption arc for that character. I think he's one of the better, if not in the top 3 villains of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, simply because he just had an interesting motivation and it wasn't a simple like defeat the villain type of story. So, and here we go.
My daughter was all in on Black Panther. She loved Chadwick Boseman, and when he died, it affected her very deeply. So
recast Alan as a Black woman. Can do.
Can we?
100%.
Is that possible?
Yeah. Says Cyberchud 2077. Are you playing Cyberpunk 2077? I'm playing that, and I haven't played my PS4 in a while. I tried to get a PS5. I had a window of time to buy a PS5, an invitation from Sony, which anyone can sign up for. I got the invitation. It was right when our panel started at San Diego Comic-Con. I did not get the PS5, but I am playing Stray. Is anyone playing Stray? It's basically it's sort of a cyberpunk. You play as a cat in a dystopian world. There are no people. They're just like robots and creatures and weirdness. And that game is awesome. So there's a lot of videos of people playing Stray. I've never live streamed playing I've never live streamed playing a video game because I care about my audience, and I wouldn't want you to feel like, why is Chris taking 20 minutes to get out of the room? Because I'm not good at video games. I play them to relax and to shoot and kill things. EDF is my game. If you want to know what my game is, it's EDF Earth Defense Force. There's what's the new version of it for PS4? But I've been playing that for a while. It's a great Japanese game. Really good. David Comer for 10. Thank you for that. Detroiter here. You make us proud, Chris. Thank you for that. Hey, I'm going to be getting back to Michigan soon, hopefully this fall, to visit family. And usually I try to let people know I'm going to be somewhere just to do a meetup. If you want to meet up and just talk movies and whatever. It's usually at a bar called Gusling Alley in Royal Oak, Michigan. Shout out to my friends at Gusling Alley, Dave Linneberry, a bunch of people there, all the bartenders who I haven't been back to Michigan in years, who remembered me when I went in there. I'm like, hey, everybody, it's a really cool dive bar. I love Gusling Alley. I don't like a super upscale hoity-toity bar. Even though I go to those places sometimes, I'm more of like, give me a dive bar. But David, thank you for your comment here. Question: is Black Panther the first time a dead actor's social media has been used to promote a sequel they aren't in? I dare Alan to defend it. Tacky as hell, in my opinion. One, I think it's tacky, but two, it's not the first time that someone who is deceased, their account is being used to promote things. It's unfortunate for me to tell you this information, but Stan Lee's official Twitter account, who has over 1 million followers, it's routinely being used to promote shit. And I assume that money goes to somebody. So
like complete shit, or is it related?
It's called The Real Stan Lee. I only know this because,
but I mean, he's not promoting Disney stuff or Marvel stuff.
I don't know what he's promoting, but I just know the account is being used to promote things. So there you go. Thanks, David, for that. I really appreciate that support. Reminder, David, if you want to get something for free, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Film Threat 5042 Wilshire Boulevard, PMB 1500, Los Angeles, California 90036. Send a self-addressed stamped envelope. I'll send you a sticker. I'll send you a button, or if there's room in the package and enough postage, I'll send you a DVD. Darius Munchausen for 2. Gusling Alley rules. I was there I think it was there a year ago. I was there about a year ago in August. I might have, if you look through my Instagram, you'll probably see some pictures. Of it. But we're going to switch gears here from that, and we're going to go to another topic. Let's review, because unfortunately, we have just had, our Friday shows have been so packed, we don't have time to review everything. And Alan, I think it's time we review This Is Gore.
Oh, this is one. Did you wind up seeing this one?
I haven't seen it, but I've seen the band live in concert. And we're going to have the producer and I believe the director on in the coming weeks. But Alan, I'm a fan of Gore. What is Gore? They're a metal band that let me get that on there. Gore is a metal band that dresses in these elaborate costumes that look like it's right out of a Frank Frazetta painting, like out of a Conan the Barbarian, but these are all the villains. Big skulls, giant lifts on the shoes, and you got to know that if you're going to go see Gore in concert, you will get blood on you, because there's like little things play out between songs. Like don't want to say like they're plays or whatever, but like stuff will happen and people will get arms chopped off and there's blood and guts and people getting killed. It's crazy. I have not seen the documentary yet. I know we're going to have the filmmakers on to discuss it, but Alan, you've seen This Is Gore. Yeah. Tell me about the documentary, because I know the band. I don't know anything about the behind the scenes. I don't know about this documentary.
Yeah. I mean, this movie is basically the entire history of Gore. And it follows mainly the founder. And I want to make sure I got it right, but you're familiar with Gore, but is it is it Mike Dirks who's founded it, or
I don't know.
Okay, so, but it's basically how the band became a band, and it follows it right from the beginning to today, and just the interesting vision that this band had. You were very, Chris, you were very tame in the way you described the concerts, but yeah, there's that splash zone. You're gonna splash not with just blood, but other bodily fluids that we probably can't mention here on the live stream, and it's just kind of it's two things. It's the band itself, the influence it had on the metal scene, also the performances and how those were developed, how the costumes were designed, what they wanted to do during the concerts to just be that really strange experience. But at the same time, it's like every other band documentary where at some point things fall apart. And it just kind of goes down that rabbit hole. And it was the lead singer. I'm not sure it was Mike Dirks or not. I'm looking at Wikipedia. But there was a point where they were a band. And because of certain decisions being made, certain jealousies that were happening, certain directions one group wanted to go in and another group wanted to go in. I think it had to do with the movie that they were trying to make, that the band slowly fell apart. And then it becomes this issue of, well, then who is Gore? Who is, who gets to run the band from that point? And then it's taking it, how do you rebuild the band? And so I think it's weird, but this is kind of the way most music documentaries go. So at some point the band falls apart. Strangely, we're doing an event at Frida Cinema for a movie of a band that didn't fall apart and broke up in very different ways. But if you're a fan of Gore, if you're just interested in watching counterculture at work, the punk movement, the heavy metal movement, this is a really fascinating movie to watch, and I would highly recommend it. Absolutely. I was never really a Gore fan at all.
I was a Gore fan. I just didn't know much about the behind the scenes. I didn't really know, just like, oh, okay, they're a fun band in concert, and by fun meaning horrible things could happen.
By the way, it's David Brockie. That's who the movie is primarily focused on, the lead singer and the bassist.
But having seen them in concert, I already kind of knew to wear something that I didn't really care if something happened to it, kind of wear it as a badge of honor, and also just sort of, you got to be a little beyond the first three rows. It's just all I'll say. That's I happened to see them actually. I think it was during San Diego Comic-Con. They played a concert at it might have been House of Blues, but it was weird because you walked in and there's like plastic everywhere. You're like, oh, that maybe not stand where the plastic is, because that's where stuff is going to go down. But yeah, they were always like a fun band in concert, and I personally can't wait to see the doc.
It's funny. I never heard of Gore until David Brockie appeared on Red Eye on the Fox News channel.
Nice. Let's go to the comments here. Cyberchud 2077 says Gore. David Comer sends us $1. Maybe you forgot the comment. I don't know, but thank you, David, for that. Really appreciate it. Maggot says best Gore was early 90s. I agree. That's when I discovered Gore. And then, there you go. Blah, blah says equal parts shock theater and thrash metal.
Oh, absolutely.
Holy hand grenades. Always good to have you here. Gore shows are a fucking experience. Yeah, you definitely need the word, the F word in there. Not the Batman says, remember when Gore was in Empire Records? Mark, want to join the band? Oh, that's right. That's hilarious. Maggot says, Mike Bishop, one of the original bassists, came back as lead singer after Dave died.
Yeah.
Alan's a giant death metal fan, says Zax. Are you?
No. No, in that era, it was contemporary Christian music. I was Amy Grant and Michael W. Smith.
There's almost no new music being made now that I like. It's all the stuff that I like is just weird or movie soundtracks. So that's what I'm listening to. Tiberius Grack is the third. Yeah, I heard Gore went nuts for the vax, just like Foo Fighters, The Offspring, and others. Shake my head. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I think the movie makes the case that once David Brockie died, that the band kind of died at that point. And now it's just kind of the mantle's being carried on by other people.
Not the Batman says, Mark, now that you've joined the band, you gotta die. Blah blah says, if you don't like metal, you won't like them, but the shows are still fun to watch regardless.
And it's a fascinating documentary, regardless of whether you like them or not.
Nice. Cyberchud 2077. Yeah, you won't get that fake blood out of your clothes. You do kind of have to wear something like, well, I wore this at a Gore concert, or just wear a t-shirt. A black t-shirt is probably your best option. Just wear a black t-shirt if you're gonna see him. Bethel Game says, I eat death metal for breakfast, but I wasn't a fan of Gore. Fair enough. We all have our different tastes. Latino Slant, Chris and Alan, I got some great music for you. What?
Striper?
I don't know. But there you go. I can't wait to see it. I love a good documentary, especially a good music doc. Let's switch gears for a second really quick, and we'll talk about another documentary that's playing in theaters. It's called Fire of Love. Let me get the banner for that one. And did you see this, Alan?
I didn't, but I've certainly read our review of it, and I've seen extensive trailers on it.
It's an amazing documentary. It's about Katya and Maurice Kraft. They're this scientist couple that are both obsessed with volcanoes. True story. And they just had this bizarre romance of they were just like two people who loved the danger of being around volcanoes, documenting volcanoes. They were volcanologists. Whenever I hear that I've actually met a volcanologist once at a nerd convention, but a volcanologist is not someone that as the planet Vulcan. That was my first thought, was a volcanologist. You mean like Spock, where Spock is from? No. A volcanologist is someone who studies volcanoes. And it's unbelievable the footage that they've captured. Now, the movie starts and they died during one of the volcano eruptions that they were documenting. They died. All of the footage of this movie was culled together. It's an archival documentary, and it's put together based on interviews they did on television, their recordings, and footage that they themselves shot. And they would wear these outfits. It looked kind of like when you'd see like a deep sea diver with that big metal helmet. And when you see the trailer, they're dressed in these outfits. It was to protect them, obviously. They would make literally, it was so hot in places they were at. One of the guys, Maurice, would take like a frying pan, put it on a rock, and then just the heat from the rock, from the molten lava going by, would basically just cook the eggs. I mean, like almost instantly. It was crazy. And Maurice's dream was actually to be in a boat and to actually go down a lava river. That was his dream. And they were testing like a vehicle that could do that. It's bizarre. The footage in this is crazy. It's a tragic story where you know that the characters die at the end. So you're kind of leading up to their deaths. It's also a beautiful romance of these two that were just obsessed with volcanoes, and they were kind of celebrities in France, like that they're French, and they would be on television talking about their scientific expeditions. And it's a tragic love story, and cannot recommend this movie enough. It's a little long. I think it's anything north of 90 minutes on a doc. I kind of feel like it doesn't need to necessarily be that. There are a couple places I feel like they could have trimmed up the story, but it's also like one of those, if you like science documentaries, I thought it was fascinating. And it also has this, very tragic, dramatic, part of the story. So strongly recommend Fire Love. It's actually still playing in theaters right now, and I'm sure it'll be coming to video on demand shortly after, as is usually the pathway for a lot of independent films on demand. Alan, so you didn't see it?
I didn't see it, but I mean, if I understand right, they let you know up front that they died doing this.
Yes.
So yeah, so you're it's like Titanic, watching Titanic.
No, it's one of those things they could have, excuse me. Oh. It's usually the cough button, or I mute myself when I cough or sneeze or other stuff. I'm sparing you the bodily sounds, folks. I care about my audience.
Yeah, if you want bodily sounds, see the Gore documentary.
Yeah, see the Gore documentary if you want some of that gross stuff. But no, but see that what's interesting about it is there are two ways to play it, right? Like you could reveal the death and then lead up to that, like talk about their lives, or you just like tell the story of their lives. And then I think it was better that they revealed it up front. And then you know, and leading up to that tragic moment and kind of their last shot of them. So really,
then the love story aspect of it. I mean, I think that would play a lot into that love story aspect.
I mean, they're both really charming. I mean, they're both really charming, and they became like science celebrities. You know, I don't know how that plays now, but you know, like I thought they led just these amazing lives. It's amazing that it was captured through this documentary. Let's see. Should we switch gears? And we've got something special happening in 15 minutes. Something very special happening in the next 15 minutes. A college student is going to interview me live on the live stream in 15 minutes.
I hope they're up for it.
I hope they're up for it too. Let's see, what else indies did we miss, Alan?
Let me see. You wrote a bunch of these down.
Oh, here we have one. Here.
Do you want me to do Easter Sunday or?
We could save Easter Sunday for Good Friday. For Friday, yeah, for Good Friday. Yeah, when is that?
No, and that's the first thing that caught my eye is, well, we're way past Easter for this movie.
Well, let's talk about Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. A movie I did not want to see. It looked
it's a movie I do not want to see.
Wait, you know what? Let's go to some comments here real quick.
Okay.
Tiberius Gracchus III says Josephine versus the volcano. What? Yeah. It's TT, volcanologist equals Star Trek superfans. That's true. What I did like about it is mostly this is the kind of documentary you'll probably just watch on television. But seeing it in a theater with those volcanoes being that close, I'll never get that close to a volcano. I mean, literally, if you will burn your skin if you're nearly within like sight distance of lava. You'd see like the melting cars. So yeah, just seeing that footage up front was pretty amazing. They don't study Vulcans? I've been deceived, says Shuxy. Really old movies. Hey, really old movies. Vulcan is the Greek god for fire and forgery. Totally makes sense for volcanoes. That's great. Derek Douglas says, what was the Prey verdict, guys? We haven't gotten to Prey yet. Oh my God, we haven't gotten to Prey.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I'm hoping to see it tonight or tomorrow.
I've seen it. Derek, let's just say it's mixed. It's mixed.
Yeah.
Let's get through these comments real quick. And Leandro Medeiros de Sousa, did you fill your RRR quota today, Chris? No, I haven't.
Yeah.
But go see RRR.
Take a drink, folks.
Jorge Barracuda for 5. Hail, fellers. Is there a doc about how Howard Stern has become such a sissy boy? Or Rage Against the Machine became neo-Marxist? Anyways, looking forward to Attack of the Doc. No, it's interesting because I've always thought like Howard Stern would make a great subject for a documentary, but he's so well documented. How do you condense sort of what period of time?
It's just a clip show.
Is it archival? Is it a clip show? Like, what is it? Yeah, it's weird to see when you see like some of these people you've known for years, never spoke really about politics. I mean, if you look at Howard Stern in his early days, very liberal, very much like, anti-censorship. And now he's kind of, I haven't listened to Howard Stern since before the pandemic. Probably March 2019. What were you going to say, Alan?
Yeah, because I stopped listening once the pandemic happened.
Same here. I stopped listening. He just became kind of lectury.
Yeah.
A little too lectury.
He was always a germaphobe, and just his reaction to the whole coronavirus, it became grating. And it was like, and then the way he would treat others and the things he said about the vaxxers and the vax man,
I don't mind how he treated others. on the
I know
show.
that.
On the
I know
show.
that.
Like Sal the stockbroker, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. Here's my review. It's about a woman in the 1950s who's a cleaning lady, and she dreams of getting a very expensive couture dress and wants to go to, God, I even forgot. It's a Christian Dior. That's right, Christian
Yeah.
Dior. She wants to get a Christian Dior dress, which is, for then like thousands of dollars. And at the time would have been the equivalent of thousands. And she through some luck, and saving money, she goes to Paris in the 1950s to buy the dress, and the elites and the upper class are totally against her. Why would a cleaning lady do this? And it's a cute movie that probably should have just gone to streaming. And I saw it because it's a movie my girlfriend thought she would like. And you know what? You want to have a successful relationship, it's about compromise. 1 minute she's watching some zombie horror movie with me on Shudder, The Sadness. The next moment we're going to see Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. If you are in the situation where you got to give one up, this is a movie that you're going to get a lot of points for. You get points. She'll jokingly call them boyfriend points. And how do I earn them? I see a movie like Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. Not for me. It was charming and entertaining, and it was over, and I enjoyed my popcorn. Do I have much to say about it? No, except what I like about this kind of movie. It's the kind of here's the thing I will point out about this film. I think is important. This movie is about class disparity, and by the way, it's a British film. The director is, who's the director? Anthony Fabian. Okay. And I believe this movie is still in theaters, distributed by Focus Features, British film. It's a movie about class disparity. Do you know who doesn't make those movies anymore? America. Americans do American film does at all. It's not even a subject that occurs to American filmmakers. The last person I can think of, filmmaker who cared about making movies about the working class and class disparity, was probably Steven Soderbergh. And Chloe Zhao, actually, in that Frances McDormand movie, right? Like that was probably the last one. But then, of course, that Oscars that year was such BS hypocrisy, totally missed the point. And Poly Latino slant, Chris Gay. I have no defense for that.
Technically, you're emasculated.
Derail Gaming says, I will stay single. F that.
So did she like it?
She loved it because she likes the world of fashion. She's very fashionable. Girlfriend's she has impeccable taste, and I am a normal dude. So make of that what you will. But she thought it was charming. It's entertaining and it's cute, and there's struggles and whatever. A really old movie says, seems like a movie my grandma would enjoy. Yeah. Holy Hand Grenade says, lol, Chris whipped confirmed. Look, I got you. Look, if I see like 9 zombie movies and superhero movies and action movies or people, one time I got to get, and there's also like, we went to the theater. I had seen all the movies. It's like I had seen everything. Like every movie we were going to see, it's just like, I've seen every single one. She's like, well, let's see something you haven't seen. The only movie I hadn't seen was this movie. That's how I got suckered into seeing it. Not the Batman. All girlfriends have impeccable taste. That's always the rule until the breakup. Not the Batman. Wasn't that J.D. Vance book made into a movie? That's true.
Is that a class movie though?
Yeah, that's true. And then that
Hillbilly
movie,
Elegy, that's the one.
Yeah, Hillbilly Elegy. The movie was promptly criticized because there were only white people in it, which I guess is that a real legit thing? Like I don't care if
it's
I see
a real
movie.
criticism. I don't know how legit
it's a stupid criticism.
Yeah.
We should be able to make movies that only have white people in them. Like that movie,
a recent movie that
Belfast.
Where the Crawdads Sing. I think it got the same.
No, not quite. It's not all, but like also there's like Belfast. Like I don't care. I don't care if I see a movie that has no white people. I don't care. Like just do what's good for the movie. It doesn't matter. Latino slant. I'm so lucky my lady.
That's why I never saw Spencer. It was such. It just comes across as a very white movie.
Yeah. Latino Slant says, I'm so lucky my lady loves UFC and thriller movies. What's so funny is my girlfriend likes UFC also. We just find the bar where, they're playing playing UFC and we watch UFC. She's into it. See, it's all about, folks, it's all about balance and give and take. It's just all about balance and give and take. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with me going to see Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. Am I grasping at straws here? And don't tell me not one of you, don't tell me one of you, you have all made some sort of compromise. You've gone to like Target when you didn't want to. How do I solve these problems? I listen to, when my girlfriend likes to go shopping on Sundays at TJ Maxx, I listen to Ryan Cannell on RK Outpost. I listen to his live stream. I find a chair. I sit in the chair. I look up weird stuff online and I listen to podcasts. So, and look, even Latino Slant says Hillbilly Elegy, fantastic story.
I love that movie, yeah.
No Latinos in it. Or as AOC likes to say, Latinx. Have you heard her pronounce it? She pronounced it in a weird way. I don't know. Something tells me she may be.
She is the standard bearer, though, so
Latinx.
It must be right.
I don't know. Elizabeth says Korean movie Parasite, great for class disparity. Absolutely. I kind of feel like foreign films are better at discussing class disparity than American movies, because Americans don't want to confront that, because that's the real battle that's happening right now. The real battle that's happening in our country right now is to keep us divided, whether it be about race or class. Those are the two big things, right? But class they don't want to bring up, because class disparity can unite us, right? That's why trying to keep us divided by stupid stuff. Andrew Odette says, this is like that Seinfeld episode where the college student interviews Jerry and she thinks he's gay with George, except here it's Chris and Alan. So there you go. And blah blah says, Chris and Alan, what do you think about the Medieval trailer? Also, have you seen Blackbird yet? It's unbelievable. I have not seen the Medieval trailer, and I haven't seen Blackbird. And blah blah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what is the Medieval trailer?
We got and Latino Slant, brother Chris, R.I.P. Vin Scully. Oh my God, yeah. His voice. If you ever would just listen to Vin Scully announce a Dodger game on the radio, it was so relaxing. You felt like you were there. You know, when you would hear Paulie, we got to go to a Dodger game. Why haven't we gone to a Dodger game? You can just show up and get tickets wherever, you know? I mean, when was the last time a Dodgers sold out? There's got to be a ticket somewhere. I don't care. As long as I'm just the smell of that ballpark, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. See, I was a huge Dodger fan during the O'Malley family days. And as long as I lived, as long as I'd been a baseball fan, there were two constant, Tommy Lasorda and Vin Scully. Wow. And that was baseball for at least 20 years of my life.
Well, all I can say is my kids, when they were young, they were in the Dodgers Kids Club. Do you know how they got in the Dodgers Kids Club? I'll tell you how. You would go to a total gas station. You'd save all your fill-up receipts. You'd fill out a form, send in the receipts. They'd send you back a coloring book and all this, and free tickets to a Dodger game. But I had to save four. So I saved a ton of them, and we would get Dodger tickets all the time. I just got my gas at the same gas station. And Chris sniffs ballparks confirmed. True. Commander Crichton says hot dogs and urine. There you go.
I tell you, Dodger Stadium was the best when the O'Malleys owned it.
It was great.
You'd sit in your seat. There was no advertisement except for the big Coke sign above the scoreboard.
Yeah, now it's just everything is an opportunity for an advertisement.
I didn't even recognize Dodger Stadium at the All-Star game.
Yeah. Well, hot dogs and urine definitely reminds me of Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
A little bit. We got our special guest to be joining us in just a second. We're going to wrap up some super chats here. Solomon Thornton says, R.I.P. Nichelle Nichols, Lieutenant Uhura. Yeah, that was a tough one. I've met her a couple times. I've been to Star Trek Vegas, where she was always there, and she was in failing health. My understanding is I saw her at the Pasadena Convention Center, where it was her last public appearance. May have been either last or second to last, whatever. So that one was a tough one. She was definitely a trailblazer. And yeah, that was, now there's only like Walter Koenig, George Takei, and Shatner. That's it.
Shatner will live forever.
And yeah, he's 90 now, right? 90.
Yeah.
CD Stein 69 for $9.99. I got your back, Chris. As a longtime married man, you have to bite the bullet sometimes. Had to watch Where the Crawdads to see Black Phone. By the way, my teen daughter loved Phone more than the chick flick. See, you kind of like, like, I don't know. You sort of like, it's like, hey, 1 for her, 9 for me. So there you go. But when it's my job to see a lot of movies, there'll be ones that kind of slip through the cracks and whatnot.
The Jennifer Lopez Owen Wilson movie. That's the one I had to do.
Well, unfortunately, we're running short on time. We're probably going to have to do the Prey review on Friday. We will get to it, Mike. I promise you. There's just a lot going on now. The Batgirl news. We wanted to continue our conversation about recasting T'Challa. But before we get to our special guest, we have another guest at the top of the hour at 3 p.m. We have the filmmakers from Boston, George, will be joining us. Okay. We're going to be joined by George Angelos and Chris Chesson, who were the filmmakers behind the Boston George series, which is the documentary series about the real life person who Johnny Depp played in the movie Blow. It's on Fandor, and enter the Fandor subscription giveaway by entering the hashtag Boston George. At the end of the show, we have 5 subscriptions to give away. We'll tell you how to do it.
Enter it in the chat.
Enter it in. All you got to do is put hashtag Boston George in the chat. We'll pick it. We're going to do it at the end of the show. Now, for something, a couple quick things. Two quick announcements for everyone watching. One, Flaccid Phoenix, who is our amazing producer on the show, has some personal obligations to take care of, will not be able to pay as much close attention to the show. What am I doing? I'm looking for a producer. So I'm looking for a producer. If you're interested in moderating the chat and working behind the scenes on the show, let me know. Go to our contact page. It's very simple. Go to filmthreat.com/contact. We're looking for a producer to help us out in the show. Secondly, we're going to be running a contest. If you go to shop.filmthreat.com, that's how you can support Film Threat. You can get one of the shirts that Alan and I are wearing right now. And we're looking for designers to create new designs to put in our Film Threat shop. And there will be some amazing prizes. Okay, so if you're a graphic designer, you want to, and mainly what we're looking for is like classic film logos, but with a Film Threat spin. And we're looking for 10 new designs to put in our Film Threat shop for the fall. And so we're calling it a dry t-shirt contest. Okay. So if you want to learn details on that, we'll be talking about that in more detail, but you can also go to filmthreat.com/contact. And don't forget the hashtag Boston George. Now, here we go. Our special guest here is Ryan O'Donnell. Ryan, I talked to by email. Ryan, how's it going today?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing great. Wow, it's look at this fancy setup that Ryan has.
Yeah, I had to do the virtual background. It's a mess behind me, so we got the TIE fighters.
No, it's looking good. Ryan O'Donnell contacted me. He is a college student. Ryan, tell us about yourself, where you go to college, what you're studying, and why do you want to talk to me?
Okay, so I actually didn't want to say, but screw it. So I go to the Savannah College of Art and Design in Savannah, Georgia. And I'm sort of doing a little career presentation. We're supposed to interview someone in a position that we would one day like to be in or interested in. And so the reason I say I didn't want to mention is because I saw a lot of people in chat talking about wokeism. Being a film student at a school like that is difficult in that way because we don't really get to, you kind of have to keep under the classic sort of agenda. And so, yeah. I wanted to interview you because I've been following, as a film student from that side, Film Courage. I've seen a lot of your interviews on there, a lot of my peers as well. And then also I started watching Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic. And then once you guys started doing shows together, it was kind of like worlds colliding for me. And so it was really interesting for me to reach out to you because I wanted to interview you because you are not only in that world that I follow, pretty much daily, but also in the film world, particularly with independent film. And so as an independent student, a student making independent short films, I thought you'd be the perfect person to interview. Anyways, that's the long-winded introduction.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll say this. Please don't be me. Get a real job. Get a real job in the industry. Make an indie film. You could be a producer. You can raise money. There's so many different jobs in the world of film. My first piece of advice. Oh, where did Alan go?
Oh no, I was going to let you guys talk and get the two of you on.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, okay. So Alan is still behind the scenes. But look, people, they're saying holy hand grenades. It says welcome Ryan with sunglasses and a beer. Thank you for that. So there you go. But I'll just say right off the bat, I think that film criticism, especially as you see it's traditionally done, is kind of dying at this stage. So there are all sorts of jobs in the entertainment industry. You could be a publicist. You could promote indie movies. You could make independent films. You could produce for one of the major studios. Who knows? Also, there are organizations that are building entertainment outside of Hollywood, right? There's the Daily Wire, among others. They're not the only company. So the point is that what I'm saying is I had a very unusual pathway to get to where I am, and I don't necessarily recommend it. I'm a college dropout who at least one of my books I know is required reading as part of independent film studies at AFI and NYU. That's my book, The Ultimate Film Festival Survival Guide. So, and I would say to you, Ryan, I'll send you the essay I wrote about how to write a book. It's really just about discipline. I spend about 6 months writing an outline. The outline's usually between 10 to 30 pages. It's very detailed. And then for 2 months, I write 1,000 words a day, 5 days a week. At the end of that process, I've got about 60,000 plus words. That's a book. Mm-hmm. So I just told you how to write a book, but I can email you back. My essay on how to write a book. That goes to anybody. If you go to filmthreat.com/contact, I'll send you my essay on how to write a book. But my suggestion is you kind of got to find your passion. They say that so 2 quick things. One, finding your passion, right? If you are able to do as your job, as your purpose, a thing that you love, it doesn't even feel like work. It doesn't feel like work at all. So whatever your passion is, if that's the thing, and you can create a job out of that, amazing. Unfortunately, real life gets in the way. You got to pay bills. You got to pay rent. You got to pay the mortgage. You got to pay for just living expenses, right? I've never only had one job. I've always had a job that what I consider to be a Mick job, which is a job I don't care about, in order to do the thing I do care about. Now, in recent years, probably the last 20 years, it's flipped to where I can do all the things I'm doing I love to do as my passion. But it took me a long time to get to that place. It took me a long time to get to where I wasn't doing a side job. And occasionally I'll get offered jobs that I'm not super passionate about, but I'll do that job just, for extra cash in the pocket. So my suggestion is have a Mick job so that you can pursue the job that you love, the passion and the thing. Don't be those filmmakers who go out and make an indie movie on $30,000 in credit cards, because here's the reality. If you charge $30,000 on a credit card to make an independent film, and then you only pay the minimum payment on the credit cards, you'll end up paying the original $30,000 will turn into $100,000, and it'll take you 30 years to pay it off. You'd get a better deal borrowing money from a loan shark. Do not make that mistake. Do a crowdfund, do something else, or do a Mick job. I've had the opportunity to interview a lot of filmmakers, and one of the most interesting things, sometimes the stories of behind the scenes of how films were made are more interesting than the movies. And I'll tell you one story. These filmmakers made a movie, I believe it was called 5 Card Stud. It was a little indie movie about playing poker, right? And the filmmakers raised money. You know what they did? You could do a crowdfunding. They all lived in Los Angeles. All of them applied to be on game shows that had a high amount of cash as a prize. And so for a whole summer, like a bunch of people who were working on the movie all went and did game shows, and they raised about like $30,000-$40,000 to make their movie just by appearing on game shows. That's a weird one. I've never heard of anyone else doing that, but there you go. And Andrew Odette says, Chris, my guy, let the boy ask some questions. Okay, let's get to that. Ryan, let's hear your questions. We got about 20 minutes.
Yeah. Hold on. So really quick, just to what you just said, just a little bit more about me real quick is I am a senior. So I just shot my film, my senior thesis film, which, yeah, you're talking about how the story about it got made is sometimes more interesting than the story itself. That's definitely true with what happened with mine. And so anyways, this is like literally my final class. And so these are the questions. And we're going to talk a little bit about Film Threat. So what makes Film Threat unique amongst its competitors is the first question.
Okay. And how many questions do you have? I'll make sure that I have the time.
Well, so there's three. There's three.
Three. Let's do it. Okay. What makes Film Threat unique among its competitors? Two things, I think. Three things make it unique. Okay. First thing is Film Threat is politically agnostic. Most films that you see, whether indie films, whatever, mainstream Hollywood movies, they politically have a certain take. Old Hollywood used to be much more conservative. That has shifted. And in recent years, in the last 6 years in particular, films have become very woke. We will cover all of them. There's a term that I learned years ago called political bigotry. And there are all types of movies that you can kind of tell the values of the movies. And this is in particular with regard to documentaries, right? There's a lot of documentaries that come at the topic through a certain political lens, whether it be left or right. We will cover both sides of the aisle. There are a lot of media outlets that only cover one side. And I think that that's small-minded. You're not getting a broad view and you're not presenting it to your audience. Now, I think it's my job to tell you about independent films you may not know about, whether they're on a political aisle that I agree with or not. And when I say Film Threat is politically agnostic, are the writers that write for Film Threat, which number 30 writers located all over the world, are kind of all over the map in terms of their views. We have some writers that I love horror, some writers that are feminists, some writers that are Christian conservatives, all across. And so what I try to do is assign a review, and this is Alan can probably talk more about this than I could because Alan deals more directly with the writers, but he will assign a movie to a writer that it more fits the kind of movie that they would review. Someone who likes horror, that's going to go to several of our writers who actually like horror. So I think it's important to be politically agnostic. I think as a media outlet, we're not siding on one side of the political aisle or the other. We live in an unfortunate time now where most media outlets are solidly on one side. And that does a huge disservice to readers and people who consume your media. I think it's important to get a more well-rounded view. So that's number one, Film Threat is politically agnostic. Number two, Film Threat covers independent films. Not only just independent films, we'll cover anything. If you're an independent filmmaker, you can go to filmthreat.com/submit. You can send us your movie. Okay. Anyone can do that. So we have some filmmakers, they hire publicists. The publicist that represents them will contact us. Someone might be a filmmaker like yourself, Ryan O'Donnell, who just wants to have their movie covered, right? We'll cover anything. There is a submission process, and we try to make it fair, right? We try to make it fair. So whether you're coming in hot from a publicist or you're just a filmmaker that's like, I'm self-releasing my movie, we want to make it fair. So we do have a submission fee The submission fee will guarantee that you'll have your movie reviewed within 7 to 10 days. If not, it goes all the films that are submitted for free go to our bullpen of writers, and they just pick and choose what appeals to them. I think that's fair. We try to cover the major releases because it's of interest to our audience, and then, but our focus is indie film. We are biased when it comes. If I say Film Threat has any biases, the bias is we cover indie movies. These are movies made by an individual who's just passionate about their film. The third thing that I think makes Film Threat unique is that each of the writers has their own voice. Film Threat has a personality. I think a lot of the personality, good or bad, comes from me. I have a sense of humor about myself. I take my work very seriously. I don't take myself seriously. And if you're looking for proof of that, I'm happy to show you proof that I don't take myself entirely seriously. Okay, so, and I don't know that I'm trying to think. I don't even know if I have any friends that don't have a good sense of humor about themselves. I think having a good sense of humor about yourself is an important attribute to just being able to get along in life. And the way I see things happening now, and especially when it comes to social media and the decay in our culture, is from people to take themselves way too seriously. And I think that's an issue. So I would say that anyone that's attracted to even work on Film Threat must have a sense of humor. I mean, would Alan let me play a video like this about him if he didn't have a sense of humor? So there you go. So I would say that being politically agnostic, keeping a focus on indie films. I don't know of any outlet that reviews as many independent films as we do. And then third, having a personality and a point of view and a vision. And each of the writers has their own point of view. If you read Alan Ng, and I strongly recommend that you do, he has a very distinct personality. And sometimes his personal views will come out in his reviews. I don't want to, speak for him, but you'll see he's opinionated on various issues. He's not afraid to hold back. And neither are several of our other writers. So I think that that's what makes Film Threat unique.
Okay.
I hope that answers your question.
It does. And to your point about being politically agnostic, the next question is your take. And I know you've talked about this stuff ad nauseum, so you can keep it as short as you want. But what's your take on the current trends within the film and television industry, and how do these trends affect your company? You kind of already talked about that a little bit, how you're politically agnostic, but go ahead.
I would say that it affects us in only one small regard. We might get a little pushback on social media. I don't care. Recently, we covered Matt Walsh's documentary that was released by the Daily Wire called What is a Woman? The video is on our channel. You can watch it. We reviewed it. We're one of only 5 media outlets on Rotten Tomatoes that reviewed that film. We also reviewed Shut In, which is a movie that was released by the Daily Wire. Just for reviewing movies that were released by the Daily Wire, we've gotten pushback. I think that the unfortunate reality is that many of the people that do what I do covering film are cowards now. And that's really disappointing to discover that they're cowards. And I feel like it's my job to tell you about these movies. Now, I can tell you my opinion, which it really surprises me that, let's say you disagree with the premise behind What is a Woman. Well, if you reviewed it, you could defend your position. What I find the weakness comes from is that people who have an issue with Matt Walsh's documentary just by maybe seeing the trailer aren't willing to actually present their arguments. I feel like if you're going to dislike something, present your argument. And I think that there's a cowardice in media now to presenting arguments. And that's where you see so much name calling and racism. The racism coming from places that you wouldn't expect. One example recently is a gentleman named Eric July put out a comic book and did a crowdfund for it and was very successful and was called horrible names, and it was disgusting to see. So I think that I think that I take what I do very seriously, and I'll also, you know, show you a weird video where I'm kind of make fun of myself because I have a sense of humor. So I think it's something that keeps you grounded in reality. So I hope that answers your question a little
Yeah.
bit more.
So the follow up to that is, you know, with films like Top Gun Maverick, of course, like, you know, destroying it at the box office. Where do you see these trends heading, and how do you intend to adapt, I guess, from your perspective?
Well, from our perspective, there's really nothing we need to do to adapt. We're covering films. It comes to theaters, we're going to cover it. If it's released as an independent film, and when I say released, I mean commercially released, so it has distribution. There's a movie coming out this weekend called I Love My Dad, written and directed by a guy who actually stars in the movie. The filmmaker's name escapes me, but Patton Oswalt's in the film. Very good film. So it's really not going to affect us at all. The trends from the standpoint of we're going to cover it regardless. What I see is things changing. Hollywood films have always been challenging. They sucked differently for me in the 80s. They sucked differently in the 90s. They sucked in the early 2000s differently. They suck now mainly because they're infused with too much lecturing and politics, which I think audiences are rejecting. Now, it's my job to point it out, to discuss it, and I think that the audience will determine the fate of those films. Top Gun Maverick being the top grossing movie of the year at $1.3 billion says a lot. And I think you're starting to see mainstream audiences wake up to the fact that, like, hey, I kind of don't like being lectured or told I'm a bad person just because I don't like something or like something. It's ridiculous. And I think that the cancellation of the Batgirl movie, I think, shows that studios are like, hey, the economy's not going to be great for a while. Let's maybe focus on stuff that is going to be a winner out of the gate. And I think the Top Gun Maverick was a surprise to people. I wasn't exactly thinking, hey, we need a Top Gun sequel, movie from the 80s. Do we really need that? No. Was it amazing? Yes. So it's not going to change what we do, but my job, I feel like my job has always been to lampoon and mock Hollywood while simultaneously telling you, hey, these Hollywood movies suck. Check out this movie instead. And that's my mission. That's my purpose. And I will say, if I can pass along a little bit of advice, purpose is the secret to happiness. And your purpose will shift and change. And, like any sort of resource management video game, if you put more power to the shields, you've got less energy for your torpedoes. Do you know what I mean? You ever play a resource management video game where you dial one thing and whatever? Life is all about kind of finding that balance, and purpose is really important. When I was younger, I had kids when I was a young man, and that helped a lot. Having kids as a purpose, it made me up my game, made me go, shit, I got to make more money so I can pay for these kids. And they don't cost as much as people say they do. You don't need to buy them a lot of stuff. Can't tell you how many times I bought my kids like an expensive toy and they grabbed a stick in the backyard. That became a lightsaber. Doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is that purpose is incredibly important, and family is purpose. Pursuing what you love is purpose, and having a mission. And my mission is hopefully to inspire filmmakers of the future like yourself. You're getting a lot of great comments here, Ryan. I'm going to go to the comments here. Fuzi says, you're doing good. Doing good, Ryan. Patrick Lemire, Chris, don't denigrate the work you do. I'll criticize. I'm my own worst critic. Tiberius Gracchus 3, this kid has good taste, it seems like then. Andrew Odette says, they recast Alan with a younger guy. Yeah.
I was waiting for that one.
I like the new Alan. Solomon Thornton, as a beginning filmmaker myself, welcome, Ryan. And Paulie from Latino Slant, Papa Gore, Spitting Truth. Tiberius Gracchus III, hey, Ryan, just remember, we want escapism in our escapism movies and shows. Then you'll always be successful somewhere in the biz. Retro Nerd Girl, wow, we're getting hard-hitting film industry advice. Always. Retro Nerd Girl, I'm always here for that. Always here for that. I could be on your channel We can have a whole conversation. The number one thing that sets Film Thread apart is Alan's nipples. That is what does it. And Alan's titties make it unique, says Andrew Odette. My passion is not working, says Baron Duke Monarch the Fifth. Here's the thing. If you can make your passion, if you can make the thing that you do, your passionate thing that you do, like your job, doesn't feel like work. Doesn't feel like work when you do what you love. Anyone will tell you that. Shelby AC says, sometimes I'll look up a completely unknown film and Film Threat is the only one who has written about it. Pretty amazing. Yeah, that's great. And Tiberius Grack is the third. Great question, my dude. See, getting a lot of love there, Ryan. Did I give you everything you needed? We've just got a few minutes.
Yeah,
left.
I was just going to say a couple things. Somebody said something about RRR. Actually, I wanted to thank you. There's mainly you that got me to see it. There's a couple other people out there. Unfortunately, I missed it in theaters because school and all that stuff. But I saw it on Netflix. If you don't mind if I can self-promote a little bit. I actually made a video on RRR that did like really well. And
what's on your channel? What's your channel?
It's The Next Ned.
The Next Ned.
Yes.
The Next Ned. Like Ned,
Yeah.
Man in the Chair.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
Where it came from.
Yeah, that's great. I love Ned.
And so that's the interesting thing for me, finishing up college, finishing up in post-production on my film right now, like this, figuring out what I want to do. Watching you guys, on the Nerdrotic, yourself, Critical Drinker, has inspired me to start my own YouTube. So now it's kind of like I've fallen in love with that because on YouTube, I feel like I'm completely in control of my creative output. Whereas on a film, sometimes, there's all these disagreements and you're not always in control. So that's that. I am working on balancing that. But of course, like you said, I got to pay the bills. So I'm going to move to LA soon here and hopefully figure it out from there. But thank you so much, Chris, for your time.
Well, thank you, Ryan, for talking to us. I hope our we get like 300 people watching right now. So check it out. I'm gonna put this up on your check out Ryan's channel, The Next Ned, on YouTube. Check it out. And Ryan, two quick things. One, when your movie's ready to be reviewed, which playing a film festival is probably the thing, send it to us. Make sure you send it to us. And when you come to LA, let me know.
Okay.
You got my email. Ned, thanks for having thanks for having me. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah.
Great. I think our audience got something out of that. Check out The Next Ned. I hope this helped for your class. Let me know if you get an A.
Yeah, I got to probably tone it down a little bit, but I'll give them the watered down version for sure.
Cut me up.
Yeah.
And look, Retro Nerd Girl, I just subbed.
Thank you so much.
Great. Subbed. Way to go. Subbed, says Latino Slant. Ryan, take care. The Next Ned. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Later. Oh, that's great. Alan. Wait, no, Alan. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's my
Alan.
email you're showing there.
Oh no, sorry about that. There you go. That was great. We've got something very special coming up at the top of the hour here. I'm really excited to talk about this. They'll be joining us momentarily. It's the filmmakers behind Boston George. George Angelos and Chris Chesson will be joining us on the show momentarily to talk about the Boston George series, limited series, which is on Fandor right now. We're doing real quick during this interview. We're doing a Fandor giveaway. All you got to do in the chat is comment #Boston George in the chat, and we're going to pick our winners at the end of the show after the interview starts. But Alan, you watched Boston George. First of all, it's a shocking story of this guy, George Jacob Jung. He was nicknamed Boston George or an El Americano. And he was this American drug trafficker who the movie Blow is actually based on him, played by Johnny Depp. Which is amazing. So Boston George is the series that's now on Fandor. Alan, before we bring on the filmmakers, tell us about the show.
Yeah, I mean, it's a, this series, I think it's 5 parts, but it's about Boston George. It's about this guy who's just larger than life. To me, the fascinating part was just how he got kind of sucked into this life and how, I don't know how to explain it. It's like the Zelig of the drug war. He somehow got himself involved with Pablo Escobar, and he became the guy who created the pathway, the tunnel between Colombia and the United States of cocaine. He's the guy who basically created the drug problem in America. But he just seems like this guy, and and I think that's the interesting thing about this documentary is how can one person do this, and we get to understand him, his life, and then there's this Johnny Depp Blow connection that is equally fascinating. The first episode is the one where Johnny appears, and just how the two connected, and how Johnny kind of got his inspiration from the guy, and how that kind of played out is utterly fascinating. And this all happened while he was in prison.
Wasn't he involved with Pablo Escobar?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's the one who made the connection between getting Pablo's cocaine into the United States. He was the one who created that pathway to get it into our country. And rightly so, you should consider this guy a monster, but then you see him presented in this and you realize how he got into it. And to me, I am always a fan of people, of understanding people, how they get into the situations they get into. And it's not always, it's not always the way you think it would be, that he's some truly evil guy, but you get to really understand who this person is, how it happened, and it's completely fascinating to me.
Well, let's bring on Chris Chesson, one of the filmmakers behind this series. We're joined by him today. Chris, thank you for joining us on the Film Threat livecast here. Let me put you front and center. Congratulations on the series, by the way.
First, thanks for having me, and thank you. We're pretty excited to share it, and apologies, Georgette got tied up. She is a relatively new mom and has way more responsibilities than I do.
Well, tell me how you got involved in this remarkable story. Like how did you come to the subject?
Sure. I was working for Snoop Dogg. I was in Colorado, and I was producing a lot of cannabis features and things of that nature. And just so happened, I worked with Georgette a lot. She was the head of production for Snoop Dogg. And one day, out of the blue, I don't remember where I was exactly, but she called me, and she didn't say hi, how are you, screw you, anything. It was just like, do you know who George Young was? And I said, absolutely. Why? Well, she had met him at a cannabis convention. She was out there shooting a series for Snoop. And of course, Georgette and George hit it off. And, somebody came to Georgette and said, George wants to tell his story. Do you know anybody who would produce it? And she said, yeah, absolutely. She would. She turned around and she made that phone call to me, said, do you know who he is? I said, absolutely. And from there, shit went crazy.
Wow. So what went into, this is like, it's part like you interview people around it, including Johnny Depp. I do have to ask about Johnny Depp. What was Johnny Depp like as a person, just to meet him? I had the opportunity to interview him twice, and he was amazing.
Yeah, totally agree. And the first time we took George to Palm Springs, Johnny plays in a band called Hollywood Vampires. Joe Perry, Alice Cooper, and so we bring him out there, and we get backstage, and George and Johnny see each other, and they hug, and then George turns around and goes, "This is Georgette and Chris," and he's, says some other sentence, and he walks over and hugs us. Like we've known each other for years. One of the nicest people I had the good fortune of meeting, and to work with him was, which he was the last part of the film. That guy's so busy. Of course, for a minute there, he was hiding, or he had to, with, bad accusations. Not necessarily hiding, but, it was, he had busier things to do. And so he was the last piece. But man, as a fan, to watch those two together, and then you have guys like Alice Cooper and Joe Perry walking in and introducing themselves to George. "Hi, I'm Joe Perry. Hi, I'm Alice Cooper." They're like, wanting to get to know George. Like it's so surreal, but it was smiling ear to ear.
Cool. We've got some comments and questions in the chat, but before we get to those, can you tell me like what went into like putting the series together? You had like stills and footage and to tell the story, and then interviews. What was all the? It must have been just kind of crazy to tell, which is why it's a series. It's not just a movie.
Yeah, it was completely backwards. As a filmmaker, what you do is you understand your subject, maybe create some kind of timeline, some stories, questions, things like that. Well, we, after pitching George our idea for the series, which at one point it was like an 8-part series, we go to Sacramento to shoot. That's where he was living at that time. And I get off an airplane. I was in Vegas filming for the National Final Rodeo. And I go out there, and George has been picked up and on a parole violation and sentenced back to 8 months in prison at 75 years old. So it completely delayed us, meaning we had to wait. And so we had to go completely backwards. We didn't know how long he was going to be around. He obviously liked his non-filtered Camel cigarettes. He likes scotch. He didn't have any limitations on when he first was released from prison. And so it was a little like, okay, we got to film this and we got to go now. So we did it backwards by saying we went and filmed everything first, and then went and sat down with 70 terabytes and go, okay, now how do we put this story together? So it was wild. I mean, it's a reason why we made it, not just a documentary about his past and his smuggling, but more about his lifestyle. And the words "famous without the fortune" it kind of struck us and the director Clint when everywhere we went, we couldn't walk into a restaurant without the restaurant lining up for autographs. Everybody knew who he was, but he didn't have a dime. He was completely broke. And so imagine being, I'm not saying the weight of like Johnny Depp where he has to have security, but that famous and you have nothing. So, again, we went completely backwards of how you'd normally would like to do a film, but I think it turned out really well to be able to show both his past and what he accomplished, and then where that left him in the end.
We got some comments and questions from our live audience that are watching right now. If you mind me going through those.
Go for it. Let's go.
Okay, here we go. Dempsey says, like starting at the end of a maze and going backwards. Well, that's a good description.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. We needed to figure out what George's story was, and he was so used to telling the exact movie blow and regurgitating the same stories, and so we had to, connect with him not only as filmmakers but as friends. I mean, basically, Georgette and I adopted a 75-year-old man. He didn't have anything, but we needed to be more than a filmmaker. Now, that didn't mean we were biased or try to make the film, a glowing review of George. We had to show that he was an asshole sometimes too, but at the same time, you had to connect to really get to know him and get those stories out there. And for me, like I currently live in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And if you know the movie, this is where he started getting marijuana from. So first time I meet him, that's the place I head to. I say, guess where I live? And so we just start talking about Mexico and that. And so you connect that way, but absolutely, we started at the end of the maze, and I don't even know how we got out of that trap.
Here's some more comments. Some of these are funny. Hey, Chris Chesson would make a great cowboy. He has that vibe, says Johnny Skinwalker. And then Patrick Lemire says, back in the day, people said cocaine is great. It's not even addictive. Hindsight is 2020. And Trav 101 says, yes, it's really good. If you like American Made and movies like Scarface, commenting on your show. So, and then Johnstone, American Made was legit awesome. Boston George sounds right up my alley. Patrick Lemire says, people forget Johnny Depp was Mr. Indy. And then Trav 101 has a question. Is he still in prison? I think you might,
Now, George got out at the end, almost 2015, and we got with him at the end of 2016. He had about a year out at that time, then had a parole violation, and he was finally released on January 4th, 2017.
And it's the question here from Luffy is God. Has George gotten in touch with his daughter yet? That's the thing I remember from Blow.
Yes, when he was first released from prison, she was there, Christina. And the parts that people don't know is George had two daughters. He had Christina biologically and Clara, who was a stepdaughter. Now, Clara was much older. She was able to actually tell the really cool stories of like being on a plane with Carlos later, Pablo Escobar, and George, whereas Christina was a baby. But George and Christina did reunite. There was some turmoil. Things fell by the wayside, and that's how it ended. Of course, we contacted her to be a part of the series. She didn't want to at that time. And Mirtha as well, his wife. But we notified her when George passed as well, and as filmmakers, I would love to have kind of talked to her, but even as her sister said, she was too young. She didn't know anything. Clara was 10 years old at that time, who at when we first met Clara, she was a vice principal at a school in Alabama. But as a little girl, she was serving cocktails to these guys on planes for $100 bill tips. So they did reunite, turned out bad.
Another comment here from Patrick Lemire. Blow was an amazing movie. R.I.P. Ted Demme. And then Blah Blah says, so insane to go from having so much money they had to weigh it to count it to flat fucking broke. So that what was like sort of your main takeaway, like from having spent time and knowing George and then knowing aspects of his story and obviously the way the story was told in the Johnny Depp movie Blow? And what was your like main lesson?
Lesson. That's a great question. I have so many fond memories. We did become friends. He called me, going back to whoever made that comment about cowboy, he called me Texas. I guess it's from my accent. So I'm from the South, but I have a lot of fond memories. I don't know if I would pick another subject who didn't have anything. It becomes a bit of a burden. For example, when he lost his home, he doesn't have credit. He doesn't have references. How does he find someplace to live? And that ultimately fell on Georgette and I. But man, it's so cool when you listen to like Bruce Porter, the author of the book, talk about he spent a year and a half traveling the world with George and nobody got to do that stuff. Well, actually, two other people did. That'd be Georgette and I, and it was really cool. He became more than a story, absolutely a friend. So, it's sad that he's not here and I can't talk to him, but I got a lot of really good voicemails. Save a lot of stuff from that guy. It was amazing.
I want to ask you a process question, but how did you organize all that footage? And what kind of advice would you give documentarians regarding the organizing?
Well, what we were trying to do, this was my first attempt at a big feature with a large budget. I was always in commercials, social media, small film, things like this. So for us, we needed to get the social aspect. We had built-in marketing. Let's put it this way. New York Times bestseller and the movie Blow didn't hurt us at all. So it was really easy. We needed content out there. So episode 4 that comes out this Friday is about the DEA agents. That was the first episode we completed. So we would say film for a week, and then we would cut selects. We would figure out transcribe the stuff, figure out what we had, categorize it into that subject matter. So we started interviewing George. We did a birth to current situation, all your memories. And then we we sat down and we thought about that, and then we did each character like his father. Tell me your earliest memory to your last memory, your daughter, your tuna, to all these. So you do get, even though we didn't know the direction the film would take us, we knew that we had to be organized. You can't just, every day that you film, sit down and cut it. Go back to the house. If you're not that interested in it, you probably shouldn't be filming it anyway. We would get done with a 15-hour day, go back. Yeah, we'd probably stop at the liquor store and grab a couple of cocktails, but we would sit down and go, what did we get today? And then we would recount those memories and then start pulling selects. It helps you stay organized.
Oh, Chris, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry about that. Other questions as we look to wrap up. Johnny Skinwalker asks, where is the showing? It's on Fandor. Right?
It is on Fandor. Fandor releases on Fridays. And then on Saturdays, it goes to Amazon, Prime, and iTunes as well. I think right now it's one of the features on Amazon TV. They placed it up there. So hopefully that means it's doing good. Over the years that we've had friends, family, which family's never going to lie to you, but friends in the production world, I haven't had anybody tell us that we did a shitty job. So hopefully everybody loves it. Like, I finally watched the first 2 episodes the other day. I didn't watch it the first weekend. I don't know. I just kind of, you put everything into it and it's finally there. It was kind of surreal, but I couldn't watch it. Plus I missed the guy.
Well, it's just to remind people, it's on Fandor, and we're giving away 5 Fandor subscriptions at the end of the show. So stick around to see if you won one of those subscriptions. So, just to wrap up a question here, what was George's parole violation? Asked Patrick Lemire. What was it?
You can see there's baseball on the TV back here. George was up he was up late watching the Cubs win the World Series. He was drinking some scotch. His parole officer showed up the next morning at like 8 a.m., yelled at him for smelling like scotch. And he said, I can drink. They said, you can at 8 o'clock. And he told him, F you. So that was kind of the very beginning. So they kind of put him under review. George made his money when he was released signing autographs at cannabis events, right? He was unable to get with her, or she didn't approve it, or it's kind of a gray area, but he left Sacramento, went to San Diego. Also, another scenario in both of these stories I'm going was there was a lot of nefarious people that surrounded themselves with George, trying to take advantage of him, trying to use his image, likeness, make money. Well, when he made them mad, they turned him in for leaving. They called his parole officer, and he already had the, hey, F you part. And then he had bad people around him, and then they called and told that he left. So he left without, her permission. She threw him back in jail.
Just some other quick comments here. I know we got to wrap up, but Tiberius Gracchus says, hey, Chris, you could be in a Red Dead Redemption movie if it ever happened. Why not? There you go. And any truth to the 10 grams in 10 minutes stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. George used to carry a Tylenol bottle in he always wore a sport jacket. And that was for a reason. It had a pocket right here. So he'd have a Tylenol bottle and it would never be closed. And he just had a straw. So he would go. That's how bad he was. I mean, how he lived to 79 at that point, I don't know, but absolutely. He was, there wasn't the movie Blow is by far one of my favorites, but like all movies, there are a bit of Hollywood changes to it. George went to prison his last time for marijuana, not cocaine like the movie said, but it was completely true. He had total recall and everything was checked out by Bruce Porter. Everything was validated. It's insane. The story's insane and still one of my favorites.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for being on the Film Threat Livecast. Enjoy the rest of your day with your baseball game, And I know in the background. And congrats again. The series is Boston George. It's on Fandor and other services, but stick around. We're going to be giving away to my audience. Stick around. We're going to be giving away some Fandor subscriptions. Chris, congratulations on the doc series, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Take care. Later. That's great, man. Wow. What an amazing,
Incredible.
What an amazing story. God, just like, it's just
such a fascinating documentary. And you just never believe people can, it's the whole truth is stranger than fiction. It certainly applies here.
Exactly. All right, let's do the giveaway, Alan.
Yes.
You ready?
Yeah.
Everybody, this is your last chance. All you got to do is put hashtag Boston George in the chat. We're going to pick the winners right now. It's a randomizer. And
it's not too late to enter.
And all you need to do to collect your free, and we're going to do the same thing on Friday too, with some other prizes. All you need to do, we got a quick super chat in. Sam Major for 20 says, the only man I could see taking over the role of Black Panther is John David Washington. Is in Tenet and Black Klansman. He exhibited the same gravitas, intellectualism, and effortless masculine cool as Chadwick Boseman. I agree. He came up actually in our earlier conversation, John David Washington, as someone who could take over that role. But Alan,
another question is, do you want to take over that role?
That's the thing. But I think it's like you could do a different take on it, right? Like there have been different James Bonds, there have been different Batmans. They're not the same. So there you go. And here you go. When you win, you got to do when you win, just contact us at filmthreat.com/contact. Tell us what your YouTube username is. And let's pick like 6 winners in case like a 5th one doesn't like.
Okay.
No, we'll just pick 5.
Pick 5 and then
let's not make it complicated.
That's why we're giving away another baby.
Exactly. We'll on Friday we'll do more giveaways, but here we go. You ready, Alan? Go for it.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. First winner is boop, 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 boop. Now I get the feeling that this scroll here repeats itself, but
the winner is
the first one goes
Spaceman. Okay, cool. Let's pick the next winner.
Yes. Okay. Are you writing this down, by the way, or
no?
Okay, I'll get it. Joseph Dredd, Spaceman. Okay. I'll write this down. Joseph Dredd. All right.
Next winner.
2. For number 3, we have 48 entries. And the third subscription goes to London Tess.
There you go. All right. Contact us. Just go to filmthreat.com/contact. And
all right. The fourth subscription goes to. You still have one more shot to get a.
No, 2 more shots.
2 more shots. Darius
Munchausen, free subscription to Fandor. I'll get you. I'm sending the email addresses to the producers, and they're going to email you the info with the code. And our last free subscription goes to, and Alan's writing them down. I love it.
Yes. All right. It goes to Jim Alaska.
All right. There you go. Sweet. Well, there you go. We're going to be giving away more stuff on Friday, so don't sweat it. We've got Blu-rays to give away. We've got codes, digital download codes for the new Minions movie, Minions Rise of Gru, and a bunch of other stuff. And if someone doesn't cash in their Fandor subscription, email subscription, we're gonna give away an extra. All right, congrats. There you go. Congrats went to all the winners. There you go. That's awesome. Alan, I think it's time for us to wrap up. I'm going to see. So Friday, we're going to be reviewing Bodies, Prey, Bullet Train, maybe some others.
Easter Sunday.
A lot of movies we'll be reviewing, but So join us on Friday. We'll have more giveaways. I think we have a filmmaker interview, but I don't know who it is because I don't have that information in front of me. But thank you for spending your afternoon with us, everyone. We are Film Threat on everything. And so follow us on Film Threat and everything. Alan, what else do you want to say?
I think you mentioned it. Go to filmthreat.com. We have interviews going.
Okay, but my favorite.
Showing my credibility.
We gotta. Yes. No, Alan. No. Let's be serious for a minute. What did you want to say?
I know what's gonna happen. Filmthreat.com. We have reviews going up.
Okay. All right. Let's be serious for a minute. Let's wrap up the show.
Yeah.
Alan, what were you going to say?
Yeah, and then you can see me stream Marvel's Avengers here too. All right, that's about it. My pal Al Twitter, Filmthreat Alan.
All right. I deserved it. Okay, everybody, hey, have a great rest of your day. We will see you Friday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time with lots of more film reviews and filmmaker interviews. Thank you for spending your afternoon with us. Do we have any final comments from people? See y'all Friday, says CD Stein 69. Drinks on Alan for sure. And Alan, what's the most used line? No, go ahead. Look, I swear, I'm not gonna do anything. Not gonna do anything crazy.
You're setting me up here, teeing me up. Okay, hey, let's get out of here.